Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Bill.
And Jack.
And we got two guests, or I don't even know if I even should call you a guest anymore.
You call me Daddy.
We are doing this in our dad's basement.
Non-cisgender dad.
Non-gender specific father. Well, yeah, Dave as always.
Pops.
Whenever we can, right? And
Father
our
Dave.
special guest today, if you want to introduce yourself.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, wave to the people.
Hi. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
this is recorded now. Hi, my name's Eddie Gobbo.
The one and only.
Bill, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming. Mainly because I wanted to bring you on here so you can more or less defend yourself, because I think there's been about, 7 episodes?
All of them?
Are we done with
Where-
introductions right now?
Well, yeah, I think. Is there anybody else who wants to
Congrats on
introduce?
your 100th episode, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wasn't able to say that. I've been the subject of what you said, like 40 of them or whatever.
It's a good amount. It's a good chunk, and it's even going to be because now I'm backlogging episodes.
Oh, okay.
To prep for when I'm gone in September. So it's going to be brought up one more time, actually, in the middle to end of September.
When does Jason get back?
This Thursday.
All right.
And we are recording this on the 13th. Yeah.
Sounds good.
And so...
So, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm pissed at you because when it comes down to it, it's
Fair
a
enough.
case where... Listen, I love the show. Bill, I love the show. All right, man?
Right,
And I love that
appreciate
it's a
it.
case where, when Jason goes away, I think it gets a little more racy.
Yeah, he's the one that
do you
reins
agree,
it in, right?
Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
I let loose a little bit more, when he's not here. Because then I have to, do inward, storytelling. I don't
The main thing that didn't piss me off, because at the same time, I'm a fan of the fucking show. I really am. Do a thing where I listen to it, and then it's a case where as soon as it kind of comes across my plate, I'm like, oh, I'm really digging this segment. My name comes up, and then it's usually like, here comes the negative spin on it, and I get fucking a bullet
Here comes
in
the shit talk.
through my car stereo. You know what I'm saying?
This show should be called Shit Talkers and Backstabbers.
The main thing that was
We might have to look into that.
the
now.
main thing that we need to probably talk about, which is a reoccurring theme of my summers. There was the one that stuck with me was the episode of we played a Milwaukee show,
Yes, so that's the.
and then all hell broke
infamous
against me. Yeah, that's the one.
story. And I mean, Jack can attest to this.
I heard that show
he,
fucking sucked somewhere. I don't know where it was.
No, yeah, it did.
Thanks,
I don't know where I heard that, though.
Thanks for the tactfulness on that.
So literally, I have people coming up to me that week, and they're like, "Man, that Milwaukee show, what the fuck happened?" And I'm just like, "Were you there? Like, what the fuck are you talking to me about that show for, random person at
Right?
this show?"
Why is this popping up?
Then this thing happens where I hear all these aspects of this show, which was just like, listen, when it comes down to these shows, and this kind of ties into something that happened to me yesterday, actually, which is interesting. These shows there's a lot of moving parts to them, and when it comes down to playing, booking, or doing anything with them, you're only in control of essentially one aspect of it, which is you and yourself, maybe your band, but there's obviously things that, bands, different personalities, the whole fucking thing. You can't control other bands or promoters and how they act, venues,
Fair enough.
sound guys, the
There's
whole thing.
Definitely variables there.
So many variables.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you were the one that got us the gig.
Yes, and then when it comes down to it, let's just refresh everyone's memory. We played this gig, all right? And I think it was a case where it was this gig versus playing our hometown, Burlington.
Yes, a place we've played frequently.
Many times. And actually I've had various run-ins with people there as well. The last time we played Burlington, I got shit on the whole night.
Really?
By the people who... Yeah, yes, that was the show. Not the last time we played it. It was the time before that. Okay, yeah. It was like last summer, and I just got shit on left and fucking right because we saw up the night horribly. We showed up late. We practiced less than a mile away from the Burlington, by the way, but we were significantly late. And then obviously I'm the point man, and I just get fucking attacked left and right from Burlington, bartenders, other bands, the whole thing, and it's all hell rains upon me.
My show.
Oh, and by the way, another thing.
Trucker.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly.
Burlington. That's Livewire.
Dude, case in point was not to switch gears a little bit. We did a thing where we played a show recently, if I'm not mistaken, at fucking whatever that venue was, the Owl.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, I have both Aiden Alexander, who was a guest on here recently, our drummer,
You can call him Gabe.
yeah, and then Tom Richmond coming up to me in various things saying the other guy is fucked, like I hate the other guy, and now I'm this guy in the middle.
Well, yeah, you're the middleman for most people. You're the one that brings everybody.
And then I'm just like, dude, it's a Monday night. These are two adult males not getting along for whatever reason,
Right.
and now I'm the person who's supposed to like be the liaison
have to facilitate
either say the other guy's right or like you're right, dude, he's a total dick, or force this handshake upon them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like Jesus Christ. I don't even know what the fuck happened that night. Like, to be honest with you,
I was standing there when it transpired, and it really threw me off because Tom's a great dude. I love Tom, and I've never seen anything. I wouldn't even say what he said was totally negative, but like I've never seen that guy like talk shit. But he kind of did. He was just like, "Yeah, the last show we did together, you were playing your drums for like our set."
yeah, Gabe was playing his drums warming up during Tom Richmond's band.
Mind you, it is a like practice pad. It's not like he's playing a full kit. But I guess it was loud enough that somehow I don't even remember that because I was watching their set and I don't even remember. Maybe I just tuned Gabe out because I'm so used to him practicing that I'm like, whatever. Kids making noise. I don't care.
Not to mention, isn't it a case where shouldn't he? All right, if he's practicing, it's better he watch the show while warming up than leave the room and say I need to warm up in private and not watch your band.
And it's one less person.
Are we shit talking in back seven Gabe now?
Well, I mean, no,
I don't know what subject.
and then I'm in a case where I got to deal with.
we on?
Then I got to deal with Gabe coming up to me and saying Richmond's, like, and then I'm vouching for Richmond or something, and I'm just like, yeah, I know. And then I knew that Richmond was coming to the gig, and then it's just like I didn't know they were going to combust by meeting each other. Or whatever.
Last thing you would ever like expect from either one of them.
They didn't know each other before that.
They've known each other for a long time. It's just that they don't like with that. Those two in particular have very similar personalities, which is where most fights come in life. If you have similar personalities, you're going to run into someone that is a similar personality with you, and you're going to clash with them. And they actually are kind of elusive but present at the same time. They're out and about, they're doing that whole thing, but they kind of like keep to themselves a little bit, but they're still very mingly. It's like a whole fucking thing.
Right.
Particular people. But that was an interesting one. But so what I'm saying is this, that applies to that Milwaukee show a little bit, because it's just like, you know, it's always about like, figure this fucking issue out or this fucking problem. And it's just like, I get it, but it's just, that is a microcosm of literally, it's seemingly a lot of shit with being a person who books shows in a band. And then the other fucking aspect of it is people, if you don't fucking realize this, I book so many fucking shows that aren't for my band through my spare time. And it's like doing a thing where you roll up to fucking a Livewire or something, and there's 4 bands, and everyone wants to know what the fuck's going on. You talk to one person who's like the point person, and it's like, this is what's going on, dude. And then you're also in a case where you expect them to relay it to their band members, right?
In hopes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and they don't fucking do it.
Nope.
And then when it comes down to it, it's like you're the one hustling, getting the shit on and off stage. And it's like you're trying the best to fucking keep this shit fucking moving.
Keep that ball going.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like...
Well, that like Milwaukee show is like exceptionally rough.
Yeah, it was.
Like, that was no pushing that ball with the... Because once again, it was like you said, I'll give you that. It was other factors that weren't in your control. You know, but you might have been able to do more. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that the key is this, which is the problem, and then
shame on you, bro.
Yeah, you know,
we're a fat shit cunt right now.
We're a real.
We do it fuckwit. The problem is our band, because we get to like obviously red carpets rolled out for us playing with Local H and all these bands that we play with a lot. Our standards are getting higher.
Yeah, it's the bar is definitely.
What does the H stand for? You guys?
I don't know. Bill and I had a great time at that show, actually. And we also had a great time loading out all our gear by ourselves when Gabe left the show because he wanted to leave early. And I think he arranged a Tinder date at the fucking show.
Damn, dude.
Because
drummers and Tinder.
He could not give a shit about Local H in the slightest. And it was funny because like he came up to me and was like, I want to get the fuck out of here. Do you want to go? And I'm like, no, I really want to watch Local H. I've never seen them live before. And this is like something I've been wanting to do since I was like 18. And he's like, fuck this, I got a date, I'll see you guys later. And I'm like, all right. And then it was already established that Pete was gonna leave early because like,
no, it wasn't Pete, it was Eddie had to leave early because
of work or because he was leaving.
He was leaving,
right?
He was going out of the country for many weeks, so it was like totally understandable.
Then it was the two of us, so we had to...
We did make it work though.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
we
I
don't
could.
roll with a
That's
lot of
why
gear.
ultimately I can only be so pissed at anyone because it's just like we're being in a band. It's like the push and pull aspect of it. That show was strange, and it sucks when it's a case where you're driving an hour to Milwaukee. But at the same time, it's those. I'd rather do that 9 times out of 10 than fucking play Burlington again and get yelled at just as much and have just as a questionable fucking show. And I can't wait to play Burlington again. Last time actually went pretty well, believe it or not.
Yeah, what was that?
Haymarket Riot.
Yeah, that was a good time.
That was a really good time.
They they remixed the title of one of our songs, which was nice.
They did.
The real estate, cubicle rock.
That was a fucking fun show.
Right?
I got really,
Sure.
I got really pissed off like yesterday. This is obviously feeding me coming in fucking super hot to this show right now. This dude, check this out. Now you just fucking put yourself in my shoes, and what do I do in this situation? All right. And people could chime in or whatever.
Not book the Milwaukee show, but go on.
Yeah, how about not book? How about go back in time and not book this show that I'm about to talk to you about?
Fair enough.
This dude, all right, I have to go to this party coming up. All right. Good friends party. Super stoked for it. I mean, good to see him. See him about once, twice a year only. Whatever. Going to this show, he said, going to this party coming up a couple weeks from now. He said something to the effect of like, oh yeah, do you know this? I'm not even going to reveal the guy's name. I don't even want to give him a fucking plug right now. Not my friend, the guy that we're about to talk about.
Do I know him?
You don't know him.
Oh, okay.
This dude goes, hey, do you know this guy? And I go, yeah, I know that dude. He's like, oh yeah, he's going to be there. Like we recently met and kind of hit it off. I'm like, good. I haven't seen him in a long fucking time. I got excited, a little excited. And he goes, yeah, you came up in a conversation recently, referring to me, obviously. And I go, oh, yeah? And he's like, yeah. He said, oh, yeah, I know Gobbo. He used to book shitty shows for me all the time back in the day. Now,
all right.
All right.
He should be a host on this show.
All right.
Yeah, maybe we should have called him.
Yeah,
his number.
he's doing the whole cunty
phone
thing.
him in.
So long story short
He's
is
a natural.
now I'm in a case where I'm going to this party coming up. All right. And it's
knowing that in
the back of my head. Now, my friend knows me, and he's either doing this to plant a seed to see if I get riled up, or he's doing this to actually help me, Bill, which is now I could mentally prepare for this as opposed to me getting blindsided for it if he fucking throws it back in my face at this party.
That's a good
day
point.
of.
I never thought of that.
Either way, I'm
idea.
fucking pissed off about this because right now I'm in a case where this dude, as far as these shitty shows I used to book for him, all right, we were all in bands. We played shitty shows, like the Milwaukee show, obviously. But it's a case where
always our point of.
That's always our point of reference. When you're in a case where you play these shitty shows, it's kind of like a rite of passage early on when you're in a band. This was 10 years ago. These shitty shows were okay.
Right? Yeah. I mean, what do you know then? You know.
But I mean, we all played shitty shows back then. You play shitty shows to kind of get your craft settled. Do a thing where you learn how to get people to your gigs, okay, so on and so forth, and then eventually you're not playing shitty shows anymore. I didn't do it purposely. They were always shows with like say 4-band bills, his band being one of them, maybe second or third in the lineup. Just that they didn't pan out well. No one cared about his band. All right.
Yeah, shit happens.
So, ironically enough, I ended up looking into him. And he's in a band with a person who's a friend of mine now.
Oh,
so
no
it's just
shit.
like his
Okay.
music career isn't over. So it's just like that
Still
whole
going
fucking
strong.
nonsense. But when it comes down to it, this dude is in a case where he crowbars that little statement in, knowing that more than likely not, it's gonna message is gonna get relayed to me. And then how am I supposed to respond? I'm just supposed to eat shit? No, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is at this party, he's going to be with his wife or his girlfriend or whatever, and I'm going to say something and in front of likely everyone.
Right.
And then it's going to ruin everyone's time or ruin the kid's party or definitely ruin the guy's time. Because I'm going to be like, yeah, like, it sucks that I had to book shitty shows because you were in a shitty band. Like, something along those lines.
That's a good jab. I
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that.
But it's a jab for a jab. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Fair
it is what it
enough.
is.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just saying, like, the response for him to say that, I would have rather him said to my friend, like, I hate Gobbo. I'm going to fucking kick his ass the next time I see him. Because that would be more real to me than him just taking a little fucking jab and expecting me to
Right,
take
same.
it. And he knew it would get relayed back
He's
to me.
being
It's bullshit.
passive aggressive.
Yeah, and that's like the fucking thing. And like Bill, you're a saint. Everyone in our band's a fucking saint compared to like that passive aggressive style,
Right.
which is like so apparent these days. where it's just like everyone's like, oh, I gotta just throw in a little bullshit, kind of like what you guys were the victim of with that fucking dude who was the guy who was like the keyboard warrior last week or whatever the fuck that was.
I don't know, that was necessarily
It's our
passive
fault,
aggressive,
though.
but-
It's everyone's fault. There's no one fights anymore. People used to get their jaw rocked if they fucking said something like that.
anything,
And now it's
yeah.
just like, we can't do that, you know?
Well, like my only argument with that though is like
it's all
if
about
somebody
peace and love.
if somebody's like in a shitty band and I call them out on it and then they're like, we got to fight, their band's still gonna be shitty even if that dude beat my ass. You know, like what's the difference here? You know?
Yeah, we should have all started fucking people up.
Well, the thing,
That sounded so sincere. We should just start fucking people up, man.
Period.
Oh, okay.
If you
I thought we
do-
were gonna stop. We should just start fucking.
if you do that
All
though,
right.
if you do that these days, you're the dick. And it's just like I didn't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
start shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
I
why
didn't want to do that.
Why
but
would you
get
even
provoked.
like? Is your mind that far 8 years ago that you would fucking bring that up? You know, like that's just like
You're
what the
holding
fuck?
on to that?
Yeah,
you
like,
know?
and it's just like, dude. And before when he
it's-
mentioned the dude's
It's
name, I was like,
unfortunate
stoked.
It's like not as fresh
was the
as the
band's
Milwaukee
name?
show, but it's still.
You know what? Honestly, I
even know
don't.
it?
I don't even remember, but I know for sure. I'm gonna relearn it. The dude was just like so off base with that, and it's just like it is what it is, dude. But like that's what it all comes down
Hey,
to.
you know
which-
why it sucked? Because you were on it.
yeah, like
You
and
were on the
his band
show.
sucked, and then the other thing too is like. I have a responsibility. Like Bill, for the most part, is 100% fucking right. I have a responsibility to my band. I don't have a responsibility to other people's band. I have a responsibility for being like the best promoter I can and booking the shows the
when
best I
it's-
can.
when it's you.
And then, but besides that, it's like it's leading the horse to fucking water. And if you want to show up and hijack a show, if you're in like in a 4-band bill, or if you want to not draw anyone and expect all the other bands to do it, or have that mentality where it's like we're rolling into the show, then we're rolling fucking out. You don't deserve to be in fucking music. You don't deserve to be in a local band.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The in and out. Like, I hate that more than anything.
Oh yeah, it's fucking horrible. One thing
Like,
I will
granted,
say,
like, we did not like that show, but we stuck it out.
we did.
the
I'm
whole
starting to
night.
like you more and more. The more and more we're talking
getting
about
better
this.
about it
Yeah,
now
it's
that we're
fucking
airing
great.
it out finally. Like, because I was telling him, like, every practice, I'm getting like the side eye from
You
you.
didn't book the
Because
show, did
obviously,
you?
like,
No, I didn't.
No.
It was like I booked us on it.
yeah,
Oh, well.
he was like, he
You
said
really
the
have
point of
no-
contact.
You have nothing attached to it then.
There is some level of blame that we had to like.
We
Throw
our
his
van
way,
did break
you
down
know.
on the way.
Did it?
It broke down.
that
It was not
that
on the way.
one?
It was right before we left the city.
Right? That was that day.
Yeah. So it was just, and it was like a really hot day. It was just not like a good. It was like a
Nothing was on
Wednesday
our
or
side.
Thursday
Yeah.
or some shit.
You really don't have a horse in the race. I mean, you just said, yeah, I'll be on the show, right?
Yeah, and like honestly, we played well. That's the fucking first
we did
thing.
a good job with it. Yeah.
And when
So
it
you
comes,
guys looked like gods, apparently,
Well-
compared to those other bands.
Yeah, no, but it was just like those other bands were in that mentality of like they definitely think they are king shit of their scene. So like anything else they don't give a fuck about, and they certainly did. You know, it was one of the few shows that
What scene?
I've ever played in Milwaukee.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the
What?
few scenes that like, or like one of the few shows where nobody came up to me and was like, "That was a killer fucking."
and we
set."
actually did play.
And we played very well.
Yeah.
And nobody said anything. I thought that was weird.
I think I got a
maybe
couple.
one
I think I got a
guy-
couple, but it was a matter of. You're right.
The only one that got a compliment was Pete, but that was because the guy after us needed cables.
Something. Yeah, there was a.
One of 3 things he needed, he forgot. Which was
You had
guitar,
3 jobs.
cable,
Who did it?
combo
Pete?
amp. No, well, Pete gave him the cable.
Oh, Gabe.
Yeah.
No, this was
no.
Pete gave
and
a stranger a cable.
Oh,
So the band
Stranger.
that like followed us. Pete gave a stranger with a cable. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Oh.
The garbage can band.
Exactly. That was that band.
All right,
Yeah,
and then
so
I
that
said a
dude-
couple.
How ironic is that? The guy jumped into a trash
They
can.
both did.
No,
and then
no,
the
it
guy
wasn't a-
fell out of it. It was
No,
great.
and I thought it was rad initially,
Is
and
that,
then
is that the
everyone
right
jumped
word?
on me.
Ironic when you're
No,
garbage?
That was that was the irony, which that guy was not thinking
I think
that in the slightest, like at all.
You couldn't even write that shit.
Yeah, you know what's funny is the
Where's
term.
hard times?
The term literally now means figuratively in the dictionary as well as literally. So it's like you know how we say I literally ate a horse, dude.
Yeah.
It also means I didn't fucking eat a
Right,
horse.
it's now been switched out. Speaking of like hard times, you like sent me that article where I don't know if you guys saw, but recently a band got stopped by the cops because somebody profiled them. Because like going back to the shooting in the El Paso one, right? It was the guy that was in a band
Okay,
No, that was Ohio.
Oh, it was Ohio.
Okay,
He was
so
in a porno grind band.
porno grind band. Yeah. So now people are profiling metalheads because of that. And this band, and I saw
don't
the
fuck with us,
headline.
bro.
Don't fuck with us. So this band was at a Walmart,
I'm
like
playing.
bands do, because you can usually park overnight those and whatever. And yeah, somebody called it in the cops, and it turned out it was in fucking Forest Park.
Yep.
Which is weird because that Walmart is not a 24/7 Walmart. That closes at like 10 or whatever.
Okay, so that's probably no, it was an issue because they were shopping during regular hours from what I read.
Like I saw the picture, it was like during the day or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. That's so. I feel ashamed because I'm from Forest Park and somebody fucking called the cops on some like metalhead dudes. Granted, that is a little out of like.
They weren't in a band.
They were in a band.
Oh,
There was
were in
like
a band
four
called-
dudes. Like
It's called
in some-
Torn the Fuck Apart.
Yeah.
okay.
Their name's imposing.
Where do they? Are they local or?
No,
No.
they're on tour from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Where were they playing? That they were in
They
Forest
played
Park?
a fest that was called Chicago Domination Fest yesterday,
Oh, okay.
or
Yeah,
Sunday,
yeah.
and Monday was their day off or whatever.
Okay.
And that's when it happened. But they are hanging out in a van, according to the story. And this happens on tour, which is like one dude goes in a Walmart for like 1-2 things and then spends an hour in there.
To poop.
Yeah, that or like, just get me out of the band van
Yes.
or mine
Like,
or like
I
the
don't
mix.
want to hang out with my dudes right now.
Get some wrist arthritis in the bathroom.
So this dude goes in, and his remaining 3 or 4 band members are in the van still, and they look suspicious. And then the people that are, I guess, patrons of the Walmart call the cops on him, and then the cops roll up.
Probably
and
somebody I know.
For it to be that Walmart is pretty
Pretty weird that.
astounding.
I mean, it's Forest Park. The cops there aren't. How do I?
I mean,
put
I got
this?
harassed by rappers at that Walmart all the time to buy their fucking CD.
At the Forest Park Walmart.
Yeah, I got asked one
Never
day
experienced
3
that.
times by the same guy. I'm like, dude, how many fat guys with curly hair are walking in and out of this place? And do I look like I'm the guy that's
Do
going
I
to
look like
sign
your
you?
demographic?
Look, man,
Not Rick Rubin,
Could be
dude.
honest with me. There's only one. Yeah. That guy's not even here.
Yeah, so that was. So they got the cops called on him, and then did a thing where, as soon as the cops showed up, explained the situation, which was they were normal human beings.
Right.
That's it. With metal
Passing
shirts.
through. Yeah.
We only got axes in the back.
And the cops were very apologetic.
Be great if
Our
the cop
name
was
is
like,
torn
what,
the fuck apart.
what genre are you? Is it porno grind? Because we have to take you in if it's porno grind.
Yeah, no
I
clue
w-
what that is.
No.
But
Listen,
You don't know what that is?
no, I get
Oh.
like the actual.
Right, the
but
cop
like
wouldn't-
any
yeah,
random
yeah.
cop is not going to be like.
I learned what porno grind was from CNN.
I've always known about it, but it's
Grind
weird.
that talks about violent sexual acts.
Right. It's weird to hear that genre and being talked about in a mainstream way. It's fucking bizarre.
Dude,
Never
that's
in a
the kind of
million
shit that
years.
gives the worst publicity to metal,
Oh,
dude. Because then
absolutely.
they probably
People
showed
use
a
that to
clip of the band, like, just going,
Well,
just being terrible on stage.
what's
and then
interesting-
everyone's like, that's all metal bands.
all metal bands all like that.
Yeah.
What's interesting was like one of the dudes that he was in the band with released a statement saying that he took down every piece of music they ever did with the kid, asked other sites to take it down, and for the most part they did. And then maybe like a day after that, Vice released like a song. And everyone was like, what are you doing? Like the dude just said,
Yeah.
we don't want to promote this because of that guy. Like enough already. Like
Yeah.
stop bringing him up.
Vice is the worst garbage.
It is now after that
No,
shit.
I mean,
like
no,
that
they
pissed me off. I
They
was
have like
that's
a track
ridiculous.
record. They're such garbage. They have a show on HBO called Vice News.
Mm-hmm.
I want to like it because I like everything on HBO for the most part. They have this opening segment, which is just like they give you like 10 factoids in a row that are just like literally stuff you're supposed to throw at people at like a water cooler, and it's just
okay.
like. Do you realize we're losing 8 billion tons of water a year or something like that? And then you're like,
Right.
okay, cool. And then that's it. That's all you
Yeah.
know. And it's just like, they're just feeding you like these stats that you have like are just arbitrary that you could not like.
I mean,
They just
I,
throw out there, but
I
not
love their
defend.
documentary shit. It's good, but everyone thinks it's like so real, but they have like such a far left leaning edge to them. The owner is like a super libtard.
Self-defined.
Just crack up after
I
that.
had to say libtard.
Fair enough. Right, get it
Oh,
out
did I
there.
tell you guys? Not to switch gears. I walked into the wrong house. I fucking walked in the home next door, and there's like,
What?
yeah, I swear to God,
You
like,
walked into the home?
yeah, I opened the door, and then I saw Cowboys fans or whatever, and I was like,
Not this
This
house.
house,
Dave's not a Cowboys
way?
fan. Yeah,
that's a cop, dude. Gobbo gets fucking shot.
Yeah.
shot coming to podcast.
Get a
Listen,
text when you can't make
he
it.
home?
Been shot.
I saw Cowboys fans. I go, I'm at the wrong fucking house, and I looked at the lawn was like manicured to perfection. I'm like, maybe not Dave's.
Not quite a Dave.
Yeah, he's like a cop, like a little older than, probably your age. A little
Oh, no
older
shit.
than me.
Really? That's funny.
And he's a Cowboys fan.
You just remind me of a really good story that happened one time, long time ago. We used to hang out at a buddy's house in Forest Park, actually across the street from me. And we were out back, like just hanging out, probably people smoking cigarettes, whatever, and like drinking, and our buddy ran off to like go do whatever the fuck he had to do. Mind you, he's been to the house a million fucking times, you know? So we're on the back porch, and we see him come running up, but to the neighbor's house. And the porch is pretty similar, but different enough that if you're not, a moron, you would notice it. But he was fucked up enough that he like ran up, and we're yelling his name. We're like, dude, don't, no, don't, and goes in. We're like,
Goes into the house.
goes into the house, and we're like, oh shit. All right, well, hopefully the old couple in there doesn't have a fucking heart attack when this kid shows up. And he's in there for like a minute, and finally pops back out with his head down, just shaking. And we're like, dude, what are you doing? He looks up, sees us, and he's like, I went in the wrong house. We're like, yeah, no shit. We saw the whole thing. Apparently he walked in. The lady was like in the kitchen doing dishes, and the husband was like in the living room, like watching TV. And they were both like, you're in the wrong house. Thank you. And he was and walked back out. I was like, holy shit.
That's awesome.
In the burbs, when houses look the same, and they're like,
Oh yeah, it's
they're
like that
just-
Chicago bungalow. Like they all look the same.
Dude, it is what it is, man.
Plus he's got bad vision, so I understand why and it was night.
We were talking about the porno grind thing. Like, it's just like, well, the first thing is this. I saw like a massive report on. It was another liberal station. It was CNN today.
Okay.
Of the Ohio shooting. And they, first of all, I gotta it doesn't mean anything. I'm really high on cops right now, believe it or not, because the cops responded so properly to that situation.
Apparently it was super fucking fast.
They say they saved, their response saved countless lives.
believe it,
Something
yeah.
around 20 or whatever,
didn't
something
they-
insane.
It was within minutes that they
And they
Got
took
the guy.
once they arrived, they took him down in 20 seconds. And he was running, he was just doing
he was geared up too, wasn't
he
he?
was geared up, and they neutralized him within 20 seconds. And they show
crazy.
footage of him going around. They show surveillance footage from all the bars that he's just he's running around essentially like a city block.
Right.
One of the bars in the area, and this is what was so fucking disheartening about it, was this bar called Blind Bob's.
Okay.
That for years, and I don't know if it's still booked by him, was booked by were certain members of that band we played with, the Mouth the Architect.
Okay. Yeah.
They're from Dayton.
Oh, okay.
And
cool.
that bar is the bar where a metal or punk rock band plays in
So
Dayton.
everybody goes, yeah.
Yeah, we knew the band. We stayed at the guy's house who was in the band playing that night, Maharaja,
Yeah,
and
they did play that night.
they posted on Facebook. We stayed at that guy's house when we played across the street from Blind Bob's,
No shit.
and he was like, "Yeah, we played that." He posted a Facebook.
Wait, he was
post.
playing that night the shooting happened.
Yeah, the shooting
Ugh,
happened.
that's
I think
terrifying.
they said something like they saw people in the streets dying and shit or something.
Fuck that. Ugh. Jesus.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Unbelievably fucked up. But
Did that guy know he was gonna kill his sister? Did he do that on purpose?
that's the most.
or was that just fucking random?
We'll never know that, but when it comes down to it, that is the most.
What?
That was one. He killed one of his victims.
One of
was
the
his sister.
Was his
No
sister,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, which is
So
insane.
his family lost both their kids.
He's not
Jeez.
dead though.
He's dead.
He's dead
That guy was dead.
in Ohio. Yeah,
I thought
They
the
killed
other
the
guy
shooter,
wasn't
yeah.
dead. El
The El Paso
that
one.
guy.
they got the El
guy
Paso.
lit.
Oh, okay.
He lived. Yeah.
That guy just they said he
gave up.
gave just went into custody without a fight or
Yeah,
anything.
he just was
Dude.
like, you got me. It's like, Fuck
Unreal.
Okay.
So the guy killed
is
his sister, and then also this is the guy that was wrapped up in the quote unquote porno grind band.
Okay. Yeah,
And he did a thing where, if I'm not mistaken, the El Paso shooter sided very far right. Mm-hmm. This guy was very far left, which obviously then Trump took to Twitter and goes something to the effect of like,
fuels both sides. Yeah.
like obviously a super left wing guy did this shit or whatever. 'Cause he's like Elizabeth Warren supporter, like Antifa sympathizer, that whole thing. But when it comes down to it, yeah, it was the killing of his sister, which is fucking insane. His involvement in that, whatever that porno grind band was, also they had like some Antifa angle to them because they were wearing the ski masks and shit
Right, yeah.
at the same time, which is another fucking can of worms altogether. Like, cause it's whatever, that is what it is. But you know what the funny thing about like, yeah, and Vice, all the media involved in that band's gone, and Vice posts a fucking track, and that's like
right, just to get those hits. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, ugh, what a fucking low blow of a move on their end. I think it's pretty low class that they did that.
that is fucking horseshit. And that band played Chicago like within the last year.
Did you book them?
No, dude, then I'd really be pissed. No, but
The guy that was in that band was
they played
played here?
They played Chicago, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They were called-
I thought, how long was he in that band for? Was he up until like this happened?
All right, and then I honestly
I'm
don't
not-
fucking
yeah,
know.
like,
Like,
I
I
don't
really
know.
don't know.
I haven't
Like,
read
'cause,
much
I mean,
about
another thing
anything.
too is like these bands, man. It's just like no one knows who the fuck's in what anymore. Like
Yeah, it's
there's
very
like
incestuous.
there's that band, the number one band that has like sort of a political left agenda right now that's in aggressive music is that band Neckbeard Death Cult, I think they're called. They're from Chicago, and then someone said that this dude was in that band for a minute. And then
yeah. I think I saw
and
something
then
about that.
the leader of that band responded, and he didn't
was like,
discount it. No,
he didn't
said
he
some-
say he was in our circle because of the music, but we didn't. He's like, but we didn't like know the guy like personally or some shit like that.
It just
Right?
seemed
Isn't
like
that what it was or something?
it just seemed like if he was accused of being in the band, you would come out saying, "I don't know what the fuck people are talking about. This guy wasn't in our fuck." It just seemed like so
He
like
could have
they-
squashed it easier.
they
that's for
they
sure.
posted something on Twitter pertaining to that guy.
Were they porno grind too or something?
No, they have all right, so I've actually seen that band recently. What happened was they played Livewire. I went mainly to see my friend's band who was opening up, and I love going to Livewire too. And believe me, like we've all seen some really racy metal shows, hardcore shows,
Yeah.
whatever, blah blah blah. And I'm cool with there being a message and an agenda. I don't have to accept it, but at the same time, like you're gonna push whatever you're gonna fucking push. They are. I'm not stepping out of school, but they're a very left wing Antifa style band because they wear the mask on stage, the ski mask I'm talking about. And that's like their sort of their gimmick, or it's not a gimmick. It's like that's what they're all about. And this dude his band did the same thing. So anyone that it's kind of like the black metal thing with the corpse paint. Like if you're rocking that, like there's a message behind it, like a grand scheme message, and kind of like this movement, what's going on. But I saw that band and they, whatever, they were cool. I took it for what it was. They did a thing though where you could tell a lot of people at that show were kind of uneasy, just organically uneasy. Like, what's going on here? Like, is all hell gonna break, or conservatives gonna show up and fight this shit? Which might have been fake. I don't fucking know. But all I know is like I was just like, all right, I'm gonna check out a few songs, have a beer, and then fucking leave eventually.
Yeah.
But this dude responded to it, the guy in the band, and the one thing that fucking bummed me out was when when the band Neckbeard responded, gives this like lengthy message that all seemed like, kind of like don't incriminate a whole scene with one thing this action does or whatever.
Right.
And then he fucking, I've softened up to it, but like I was just so bummed when it happened because I knew there'd be a backlash with heavy metal that he kind of ended his big Twitter or Facebook rant with like almost like a post-death threat to this guy. Like, I hope your death hurt a lot or whatever, something that I didn't need at that point, which was more death
Right.
and negative energy thrown into this
Just added
fucking
to it.
world.
I was like, ugh.
And it's just like, dude, bigger picture, I rather not relish in the fact that I hope the guy who killed all these people died a slow and painful death.
Right.
It's more about, unfortunately, at that point, the people who were injured and killed. That's just me.
absolutely.
Call me
He
crazy.
died
With
pretty quick. I watched the video.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah, whatever.
He shot him to the ground and then like blew his head. basically.
Really?
Yeah, they shot him on the ground, and he was like crawling, and then they were just like,
That seems.
and he was like gone.
Fuck that.
He was gone in the grind porno hell.
So his sister was just at the bar, and he.
They
had no
were.
idea.
They have videos of him like 2 hours before out at the bars with his sister.
He was hanging out with the
So
sister.
he-
They
So
drove
he
together.
must
she
have
was there
liked his
then.
sister. I don't think he like went
like
on
at
a rampage to kill
Oh
her.
wait, so at a different bar that wasn't the one he shot up. He's out with her.
No, they drove to that downtown strip together that night. I don't know
It
if
was
the
like
guns
him,
were in the
his
car or
sister,
whatever.
and
But
like a friend or something.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
he like must have lived real close, went home and like geared up, and
Yeah.
then just came back out.
Goddamn. Ugh.
That's a good stereo. Ugh.
I like how that was a big thing. Like, is this guy left or right? That's all people
That's
are talking about. It's
immediately
like,
what they
how about
ask
the guy's
for.
a
It's like,
fucking
I would-
psychopath?
It's only gonna get worse.
Who cares what if he's left or what TV shows did he watch?
I will
Let's go
say-
through his Netflix history and then condemn all those shows.
Well, now they're blaming. They're
It's like,
blaming.
fuck
video
you, the
games
guy's
is the
nuts.
biggest thing
They're
on
blaming video
or
games
back
again.
on the
It's all
chopping
just.
It's all about politics in this fucking country. It's nuts.
Well,
the guy's just a
definitely-
lunatic.
It definitely helps fuel either side. You know.
all
having
I'm saying
that
is
kind of
this,
thing.
which is, I will say this. I mean, believe me, 9 times out of 10, it starts from the conservative side. I think this kind of started from the liberal side with what I forget where the shooting was, but it was the one guy who was caught in the pro-Trump documentary, and then he went on a rampage like a year later. Like he was at a like a pro-Trump rally, like can't wait for Trump to be president, blah blah
Right.
blah. And then liberals
Make
like,
Mercury
of
again.
course this guy shot like is the guy who killed. And then it's like, okay, well then this is gonna now affect you negatively when it comes back around with this fucking idiot,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they're all fucking idiots. That's the number one common denominator. And if you're in a case where you're like far right or far left at this point, you have to be part insane. Swear to God. Like, I mean, like,
if you're on those like extreme
have to be the-
ends of
yes.
the spectrum, there is some sort of mental instability to be in that mindset.
It's a cult
you know,
on either side.
it is.
It
It
is.
really is. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, it's just, and I would like to think that it's a small number on either side, and I feel like most
It's
people
not.
are in that in between.
It's pretty.
I don't know. I think it
I
only
feel like
seems
if-
like it's not because of like how media portrays it, though.
Have you ever been on Twitter?
I was just talking about
The
that.
whole
Twitter
fucking
scares
country
me.
is just insane, dude.
It's
Well, that's such a like
And that's
a,
the reason why, because
look
everyone
into
has a
the-
fucking soapbox now. Every fucking moron.
and then
we can all,
the rationale
commiserate
is
together.
the crazier people make the most noise
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
because they have no
Yeah.
fucking filters.
Yeah,
and
they're
they,
certainly the loudest sides of the argument.
Right. Well, it's everybody likes.
And there's
to
no
see
one
that,
sitting down
you
with
know.
the opposite side and having real conversations.
No, it's all
It's
you're
just
wrong,
Twitter
I'm
fighting
right,
and like
you
I'm
know.
gonna say some what I think is witty remark back to you, and I'm like better because no, it's like
right. It's like
because
you're all
none of you are
idiots.
funny, so
Yeah.
get off Twitter. None of you have good
None of you's
remarks,
besting the other. Just give
except
it
that
up.
guy that fucked with the peanuts guy, the planters.
That is
That's one of my favorites.
far and away one of
If
my
everyone
favorites,
like
yeah.
that was on Twitter, that'd be awesome.
That'd be fun. Yeah, it'd be way more fun that way.
It's a great episode too, actually. Thanks
yeah,
to
one
Rudy
of
for
the-
doing it, by the way.
yeah.
Rudy.
Yeah, it should be the episode before this one. If
Yeah.
everything's going in order. Yeah, the other thing we talked about the other night when we were jamming, like the El Paso one, like it's a weird one because like growing up and like we're all like close enough in the same age where it's like when we were growing up, like 9/11 happened and then everybody freaked out about anybody that was like Middle Eastern or looked Middle Eastern. Like I have like friends that aren't Middle Eastern that people are like, what the fuck are you doing in our country? Like get the fuck out. And the dude's like, yo, dude, I'm like Eastern European. Like I don't know where you're getting this like Middle Eastern vibe
I'm
from. You know?
Ecuadorian. I'm just brown. You're mad.
It's like
Yeah.
it's so weird, and like people would get upset about that. But being like, I look mostly white 99% of the time. If I catch a tan, I'll look a little.
Your last name is
Hispanic.
Faye as well.
Yeah, my last name
Yes.
is Faye. It's Irish, which is funny.
Yeah.
And and so like there's a disconnect there from me. So always hearing that stuff, I couldn't quite grasp how bad something like that is. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know the severity of it or how people like that who were like Middle Eastern would feel. Like
Right.
I don't really know.
Yeah, you can kind of not saying you're hiding, but you're hiding in plain sight. Nobody.
Kinda, yeah. And it's just hard to get the same perspective that they would have. And I'm sure it's like terrifying. But now with the thing with El Paso, with that dude who went to Walmart, fucking fired on it because his assumption was it was all illegal Hispanics.
Yeah.
Or Mexicans more specifically. And that scares the shit out of me now. Like
As it should,
now it finally has connected. Mm-hmm. And mainly like for like 2 reasons. One, I'm half Mexican. And like I said, in the right light, on a good sunny day, I'll look pretty Mexican probably. I'm at Walmart somewhat frequently because I go on tour and I'm in Walmart. It's like, so now it finally has like hit home to me. And it's scary to think that, man, I never would have thought that. Yeah. Never in a million years. And now that's in the back of my fucking head anytime I go out.
The thing I saw recent, Amnesty International, like, is now posting stuff for, like, if you go travel to certain countries, here's shit to look out for.
Right.
And for the U.S. now, it's literally like, avoid large public areas. Don't, like, it's like, because of all these shootings out there, it's like,
don't be brown.
Basically, avoid places of worship. Don't look different. Like, it's, and this is
blend
like,
in,
this
right?
is a multi, you know, they're covering every country.
Get a
and
concealed carry.
Yeah, like that's what it's like.
Load
Everybody
up,
in this country is like, this is like the international scope of it.
Right, how they view us,
yeah.
Which is
taking.
Honestly, if we go on tour again, I think I'm bringing my gun.
I mean,
I've heard dudes do that, you know, just you never fucking know.
Seriously,
it's
I mean,
just to keep your shit from getting stolen from the van.
These days, having the
or just
concealed carry,
fucking, like psycho.
Fucking, yeah, there's just psychos everywhere.
Every
dude.
time
especially Walmart.
like it seems like
I'll start popping caps in people's asses.
You have
if
a
they start
concealed
shooting. Not yet. I have a Floyd and a gun. I just keep a gun in the house.
Well, yeah,
in
every
case someone
room.
walks my back door on
you
accident.
fucking shot me.
Like Gobbo. Dallas Cowboys fan.
Light them up.
Or in case the ice maker is making noise, you gotta take care of it again.
It's funny because like countless bands throughout the year crash at my house when they're on tour, and like there's always that time where all the knives come out. Like, gotta get ready for bed, and they put the knife. Yeah. And it's these fucking knives.
The weapons.
Yeah, weapons. I've never seen a gun in my house. Knives
Really?
all
No
the
shit.
fucking time. Like bands don't bring guns for whatever. The knives though, for sure. And it's just like, all right, we get it. Someone's gonna attack you for your $200, and then you're gonna stab them in the fucking neck and.
With the state laws with guns, it probably gets really tricky.
That's
I would
true.
imagine they don't know where it's cool to do what, where. And,
Yeah, if you have a concealed carry, I think you could carry. If you have the Illinois concealed carry, you could carry in 45 states.
Right.
Okay.
So on the off
So there's
chance you
5
randomly
that
tour,
aren't.
yeah.
But I think
those
you
would be the
could put
ones you
them
go
in
to.
your. Then you could put it in your trunk and
it's
unload.
fine.
You know, take
If
the
it's unloaded,
magazine out.
yeah.
Whereas anyone could just kind of carry a knife on them.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there's no.
But
way.
a gun like in your trunk with the magazine out isn't effective. You want it
Right,
like right
yeah,
there,
right
and
next
you want
to
to
you,
start
yeah.
fucking blasting it off.
Well, just go to Texas where you can have a concealed shotgun. That's a law. That is
how
a
you
real
conceal
thing.
a shotgun.
You can
Who knows?
conceal a shotgun in your vehicle.
No, Texas
like,
they
or
don't.
Whatever.
Texas is not concealed. It's open carry.
Open carry, yeah.
So there's people in Walmarts in Texas
that are just
There's
walking
no
around.
straps.
joke. They
I
walk
saw a
around
picture with a
with
dude, like-
AR strapped
Yeah.
to their back,
Yeah.
and they're like shirtless.
Yeah,
It's
And they have like a Dale Earnhardt
So-
tattoo on their shoulder.
Thou shalt always make left turns.
But they weren't at that El Paso one.
no
Because
right.
they were all, that was a Mexican area. That was 85, I think the consensus there is like
It's
85%
predominantly,
Hispanics.
yeah.
They probably couldn't even get a concealed carry. Like this is what
Right,
the
yeah.
right's point was. Remember, they were trying to say that white supremacy and all that doesn't exist and it's getting made up. So all these people, including someone I know, is claiming that that guy wasn't racist and that doesn't exist.
Oof.
And I was like, you are how fucking stupid. How much
Is
do you
that
want to?
not an act of racism? Like, he specifically targeted Mexicans.
Like,
had a
dude,
manifesto.
Does
the
Trump's
fuck? Yeah.
dick just touch your stomach? Actually, does the head of his cock get eaten by your stomach acid? Like how much
How
are
much do
you
you have
deep
to
throwing
love,
this guy?
like, to negate the idea that
Yeah,
racism
that's
doesn't
everyone's
exist?
so blind, dude. It's like
That's
clearly
an
that guy
extreme.
drove an hour south to El Paso to kill Mexicans. It's not like this isn't rocket science.
Right. That wasn't just a weekend. For
If
the
it
guy,
happened in
yeah.
like a Walmart where there was a bunch of white people with guns, I'm sure that guy would have got shot like walking through the door.
Yeah, that's the other
Yeah.
thing. He probably would have. He knew what wasn't armed, what was.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah, I'm sure these people are some level of insanity there, but I'm sure there's some enough intelligence to be like, I'm gonna go to an area that I know doesn't have weapons, and I'm just gonna unleash. And it's not that hard to find that out. You just quick Google search.
Yeah, I mean that guy.
What are the gun laws in the following city? Oh, none.
Yeah.
Cool. going there.
That
you
guy
know, like,
clearly went into it with intent. More so probably than
Abso-fucking-lutely.
more so than the Dayton guy. The Dayton guy seemed to be more just like
What-
scattershot. And like,
what was his like whole MO for that thing?
They don't even know. I don't.
He was
think. I don't
extremely
know.
left wing. Did a thing where he had a Twitter as well.
Oh,
It was two-pronged, which was very left-wing politically, and also had a massive disdain for just women in general. Hence the
Okay,
porno grind
yeah,
aspect
yeah,
of
yeah.
it. He apparently had in high school.
is he one of the infamous incels? Is he one of
No,
those?
he had a girlfriend that came out and talked.
that
Really?
recently broke up with him because of
Him being normal.
he made
He what?
He was too normal for her.
That's what
No,
okay,
yeah.
I was like,
he made her watch a
She
mass
likes to get
shooting.
punched in the
Was
face
one of
with-
the things.
Really?
Yeah, he goes like there was some dude.
Check
who-
out this.
Yeah, like one of those things. Seriously.
Fuck that.
And she's like, "This is a total red flag in theory. Like,
This is
he's
not
probably
doing
just not
it
a
for
good
me.
person. You know what I'm saying? Just based on that.
Obviously, yeah.
So she fucking parted ways with him. He had a female only like hit list, and it was actually he referred to it as a rape list.
Yes, I remember hearing
In high
something
school.
about that as well. Yeah.
And you know what's funny is this is the aspect of it, which is like, all right, this porno grind thing, cool, I get it. It's more, a lot of it's shock value.
Absolutely,
Nothing
yeah.
shocks anyone these days, so you have to go put it fucking full tilt.
You have to go hard as fuck.
I saw a porno grind ban a long time ago, probably 3 years ago, and I went to my mom's house the next day, and then I said one of the songs was called "Snorkeling and Diarrhea," and then we laughed, like we both laughed. 'cause
That's the thing of that kind of genre is the tongue in cheek.
So tongue-in-cheek.
You know, and it's
it's a great name.
obviously to an outsider, it's easy to pick it apart and be like, "Whoa, they hate women." It's like, well, it's
All right, now check this
but
shit out.
For us, it's like this is absolutely a
They
stereotype.
hate diarrhea.
That shit. Now
so
here's the
funny.
thing, which is a lot of bands, and I think his band or whatever you call it might be one of them, are under that impression. This is gonna sound weird. They're under the impression that most people take it all as tongue in cheek now, so they're actually putting legit agendas inside their music. An example is this. All right, this band called. They've been around since the '80s. They're called Meat Shits. All right, they're like a porno grind band.
I do remember that name.
All right, so they're a porno grind band. I want to say from Texas, somewhere around that, or whatever. But long story short is they actually do, and everyone says like those dudes are the nicest guys. One of those things,
Right? Yeah, for sure.
They had a shirt I saw recently, and I'm just like, all right, you could be the nicest dude in the world, and you could have no agenda, and this be total joke. The back of the shirt said, had a bunch of symbols on it, which were symbols of like sexuality, like you know the circle with the line
Okay,
through it, all that
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And it had a big circle with a huge line through it and said only 2 genders.
Oh, that's a little much.
Well, I mean that's kind of that's a
But what
statement. Now, that's their
now
statement.
people,
Yeah.
because I mean you're talking about it now. You know,
Yeah, so, like,
it did
I'm-
its job. You know?
I'm looking at it as that's not tongue in cheek anymore. Because
No,
it's-
they've passed that line.
They've passed that
'cause now
line.
they're making a statement like at that point.
yeah, and like I get it. They're like,
But they're older dudes, and I can understand why they feel.
well, I
that
guess.
way,
I
you
mean,
know?
but like at the same time, I expect my parents to be more. They're I guarantee younger than my parents. Maybe my parents'
sure,
age or whatever
yeah,
the fuck.
yeah.
But when it comes down to it, it's just like. It's their responsibility to be understanding with it. And then also, like, the death grind scene is surprisingly, not really the death metal scene, but the grind scene for sure, totally, like, forward-thinking people for the most part. So it's just like, with that, it's just like you're putting out a statement that it's just, some dude's going to see it, some kid's going to see it, that might already side with that, and he's going to go fucking full tilt with it because he's like,
Right.
I'm not fucking alone, man.
They
It's
get
just like,
me.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not fun anymore, you know what I'm saying?
definitely not. Yeah, for sure.
And that was one example of like some of their merch where I'm just like, that's going too far.
Right, they
now
did
they
it.
make the most brutal shirts or whatever, but at the same time, you have a message now, you know? And that's it.
I
And I like the
expected more
next
from
Baron
the
Air
meat
shirt.
shits.
What's up?
I
Expect
expected
more from the
from
meat shits. Fair enough.
It's just like, yeah, no, part of that I think is a branding element too.
Yeah.
I mean, for them to have, like, look at this band. They had the sack to put this on a shirt.
Yeah.
It's the Jesus is a cunt thing for Cradle of Filth back in the day too.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's you putting your stamp.
Jesus
on,
is a fat shit cunt.
No,
that's the next one.
Yeah.
That's the Nothing's for No One shirt.
Squiggly's working on
And
it
there's a
right
picture of
now.
me, Bill, and Jason.
Jesus is a fat.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Once again, I wish I had Photoshop abilities.
Oh Lord, that's
that
amazing.
would never see the light day, though.
But yeah, that's an interesting take on it because I mean, most of it could just be whether it's the line is now completely blurred with something like this, where you can't really allow it to have a gray area where it's like, is this actually how this guy thinks? Is this just
Yeah.
for a shock value for like not band branding necessarily, but like, you know, if you're going for a shock value element to it, you know, that would be having a rape list would probably be a way to do that. But now it's, you know, all of it gets completely blurred and it's all fuzzy and gray and terrifying because this guy probably was just a monster and just finally figured it out and,
Right.
you know, snapped in the worst way possible. And it all became, you know, the incel-y behavior too was then backed up by the fact that this girl dumped him and, you know, he just loses his mind.
Yeah,
So
did
it's the end of
they
it.
did they say the girl was out on this? I wonder if the girl was out that night.
I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting point.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's
You would think that
possible.
that's
like that could have been a motive for him, you know.
It's all, yeah, I mean, the fact that there's multiple to talk about in that short span
for
of time.
the right kept saying, you know, using that guy as like, you know, that guy was a liberal type shit. He killed like a bunch of black people.
Yeah.
It's like, what's your argument?
They just want somebody
Yeah,
on
was the liberal aspect.
Yeah,
of
the
it.
guy like killed a bunch of like non-white people.
They just
he
want-
just went crazy.
they just the point that they can now drop is it's not just the right wing or gun nut people.
Yeah.
right. It's
Like
it
Republicans
wasn't
aren't
us
the
this time.
the Republican
Yeah.
like look at that happens on that side too.
Right.
And that was quite frankly, if that's like the guy's political bend and that's what he was going for, he totally fucked up all of it then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like if you want a way to not get your point across, go
Right.
ahead and
if
do
you want
the
your
thing.
side to win.
Yeah, do the exact thing that the side you're allegedly fighting
Right.
might be doing also. Like, and for it to happen on the same weekend, it's just like that. It's
That
just
is
a massive.
like, what
the one joke I
fuck,
made
man?
on like Twitter or whatever was in response to some other comedian saying like something, you know, one of those too soon jokes, but it's just like, yeah, we have another. It was something about immediately like, hey, let's like all pretend to be outraged on social media and then immediately do nothing. Basically, was like with no, and that was for because El Paso came first, right? And then Dayton was like that night or
Chicken
whatever.
and egg.
know.
I don't know.
I'm pretty
either.
sure El Paso came first, so it was in response to that. And I was like, well, we have another shooting booked this weekend anyway. I just like typed it up and
Yeah.
Right.
like whatever, something. There's another one that's coming right around the bend.
Right around the corner,
It was
yeah.
literally like overnight. Then my phone blew up of all these people that had read it and responded to
Oh,
it,
really?
and they were like, "Oh yeah, wow, you were terrifyingly right." I was like, I did not mean
Yeah.
to.
Wow.
Like it happened 12 hours
Yeah.
later or some shit,
It
and I was just like,
back to back.
Yeah, but we were
and
on
then
vacation.
I get on some list where it's like,
you're
oh,
the-
I called this out.
Yeah. No, I'm surprised the FBI hasn't contacted you.
Yeah,
They might be watching
they're
it
probably
right now.
checking.
Yeah.
but yeah,
when we were on
like-
vacation in Greece, I was like kind of drunk and we were all just sitting around talking.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, it just came to my head and I just randomly said, you know what's like we're due for is like a mass shooting in America. Because I realized like
it's
it
about
hasn't
time.
happened in a while. It seemed like it didn't happen in like a couple days.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, why would
almost
you
been
be
a
thinking
week.
about that? You're fucked up. And then we land
Next
and
thing
like
you know,
two
you
huge
come home to
mass
that.
shootings happen.
Oh, that happened
you
for
go.
you guys right when you were
Yeah,
coming back.
right when you
Wow.
got back. Yeah.
Damn.
And I was like, welcome to America. And then I got a cheeseburger like 10 minutes after it happened. And I was just like, this is my shit, man.
Did leave the terminal.
This is my kind of country right here.
Ripped your
Running
shirt
from
off.
bullets and eating fucking Whoppers.
I think that's the slogan of the country. Yeah.
Dodge our bullets, you get a sandwich.
Yeah. Get a free Whopper.
We're averaging one shooting.
Yeah,
a month.
you'll get a free Big Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Well, Hard Times did a great article of like the title was America Double Books Mass Shooting by
saw-
accident.
yeah.
And I was like, perfect.
savage, but yeah, it's
Way too soon, but it
is kind of perfect.
very
though,
apt
because
to-
now they're like, if it gets to the point where they're now like doubling up on each other, it's like this is getting crazy excessive. Like,
right.
yeah,
It's the
Is
video
it now
games.
It's definitely the video
it's
games.
definitely the video games.
It's definitely-
I mean,
yeah.
that's
I
what
mean-
it is. That's
All
They
that
shut
Grand
that
Theft
down
Auto.
so quick with the video game thing.
Did they? Because I
Yeah,
kept
no,
seeing
they-
stuff like pop up, and I was
No,
like,
but
really?
someone like posted like, okay, America has what 350 million people,
roughly.
and UK has like 50 million.
Mm-hmm.
So they did it like based off that and how many games Americans buy.
Oh, okay.
And how many games they buy, and the amount of games are obviously lower in the UK, but per population,
Right,
it's the
like
same
the per
percentage
Yeah.
that they're buying. It's like equal,
Right.
and then it
And then
shows like
where's the-
mass shootings, and it's like 1, and it's like
300
whatever
or
we had
whatever
this
it's-
year, which was like insane.
Yeah.
And it's also
mean-
like, okay,
You gotta remember, we like to break records, but go on.
I'm like, no one's stopping me from getting GTA 7 or whatever's coming out. That shit better be violent as fuck.
I better be able to
I don't
beat the
care
shit
how
out
many
of
mass shootings
prostitutes.
happen. That
crash
game better be
cars.
sick. You better be able to fuck prostitutes still in it too.
I don't see why not.
No,
Could
you
you
can't.
imagine if we get to a time where like we gotta bring it down with Grand Theft Auto and be like, fuck that. What are we doing?
There's this deep psychological study, and it turns out it actually
it's all
is video
true.
games. They were right the whole time. Like it's just like the spike from like the 80s with like Atari.
You know what they blamed?
Pong definitely makes me want to like beat the shit out of
Yeah.
people.
They blamed
Go on.
media, or whatever, whoever, Manson and ICP or whoever, for Columbine.
Columbine,
You know
yeah.
what's funny
Oh,
about
yeah.
the Columbine thing? I was like trying to put my finger on it, and there's one huge difference between Columbine and all these other mass shootings, which is the Columbine kids, for the extreme most part, knew who they were riling up and shooting.
Mm-hmm.
They
They had targets.
They knew
had-
specifically, right?
Yeah,
like,
they
who
killed.
They were going after.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they're people that fell through the cracks or whatever, but they knew those kids, and they knew that the teachers they killed, which is horrifying.
Yeah.
Now it's this new generation that's coming up, is again that passive aggressive bullshit, where it's like a passive aggressive way is taking out your anger and frustration on other people who maybe are near the people that harmed you or annoy you or this
Right,
and this,
or some sort of representation.
yeah, representation.
Of what you
and
don't
that
like, yeah.
what you're assuming they represent. And
Right.
like being
Well,
at
it's
a bar,
definitely an
being at a
assumption.
bar, you know what I'm saying? Like what the fuck's that? You know what I'm
mingling
saying?
probably, and dudes talking to chicks or whatever, or chicks
You
talking
know how
to
many
dudes
people
and
go to
piss them
bars
off?
and like hate it? Like they're just like, I don't know why the fuck I'm here. It's like that's not all bar culture is like we're here to get laid. Man. Like it's like
Right.
that's far the contrary, dude.
It's funny he's not here, but Jason is like that. He hates going to bars.
Yeah, and like people who hate going
And,
to bars
like,
go to bars a lot. Like
he
not
does
a lot,
that,
but like
though,
enough.
they do enough that they hate it, I
Yeah.
guess. But like it's funny. I'm one of those people, like, because I don't drink that much. I very, very rarely do I drink, and like I've gone to bars and like not had a beer, and people are like, "How the fuck can you do that?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm just talking to my friends. Like I would be talking to them if we're in like a parking lot. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't need to." Drink excessively or even drink at all when I'm like in a setting like that. Clank, 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 clank. But I mean, nowadays I'll have like a beer. Like as long as it's a good beer, I'm happy with having a beer. But I don't know, it's not my thing. But I
Back to
don't.
the
I don't
video
hate,
games though,
I
dude.
don't hate going to bars. Is what I'm saying.
I think it's Zelda. That's the one that
Dude,
did
Pong.
it.
It's fucking Pong, man.
It started with Pong.
And
What
then
a fucking
probably
thing
Highway.
to say though, honestly.
Well, that's such an antiquated argument for that
It's
kind
like
of thing.
what did Hitler have a Game Boy?
He did actually.
Mussolini?
He had a Game Boy Color.
Yeah, Hitler didn't like the colors.
Like what was his
Yeah.
excuse?
Just psychopathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
So
good old
people
fashioned.
are
Good old rough weekend.
people are nuts. And they've always been nuts since
They're out
we
there.
crawled out of a cave. So I don't know what people
But
are
like,
thinking.
what do you think is like? It just is. There's a level of frequency to it now that seems to be happening more and more and more in shorter spans of time. Is it?
Honestly, I'm not trying to give this like like I don't know. Like it's not like a scapegoat for me, but it's definitely an issue. Is how many kids are on medication
Okay.
and how many people are getting
lot of
prescribed
people, for sure.
SSRIs
I don't know
and
what that is.
like a serotonin suppressant
Okay.
or whatever blockers. So many people, dude. It's insane.
So when
And
you
none
come
of them
off
need
that
it.
medication,
Yeah,
you're
that's usually when
you
the
are
problems
fucking
Not only
insane.
that, but
Yeah.
how many kids did you know? I knew fucking half of
Adderall.
my school were prescribed Adderall, meth,
That was
on a growing brain that's
on
not
a
developed
child.
yet.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think this shit's gonna do to people?
See, by the time I was like,
Americans
out
are
of school-
pussies and can't handle depression. Some people need it that are actually depressed, but not
Right.
as many of the people as
As
they're
there are.
prescribed.
Agreed.
Like people are like sad and they need medication. It's like, dude, half a life, more than half of your life is gonna be fucking sad.
Right.
That's part of life,
That's part of life.
motherfucker. Deal with
It's
it.
not all.
And
Go
roses
tell a
and
person in
rainbows.
fucking India that you're sad. Yeah.
Wait till
fuck
they're done
you.
shitting in the street and then ask them about that.
And it's really not, most of the time you're not sad. It's just that you're convincing yourself you're sad because it's that human condition, which is like sadness in theory should drive you to get more things.
Right.
You know, like, I need my car sucks. I'm depressed. I need a better car. It's like that type of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
for
like,
sure. It's a motivator for people.
But I mean, this day and age, people get, what's the opposite of motivation? Dismotivated.
Dismotivated. I don't know. What is
They get like they defeated.
Yeah,
or something. So it's like they defeated by like my car sucks. I guess I suck. Like it's like
well, it's easy to
Yeah.
get defeated if that's all you're doing is staring at like these fake things about how
Right.
life should
Like-
be on your phone and
Yeah,
on
but I mean,
TV, and that's not what life's about.
It's definitely crammed down your throat, and like anywhere you go,
People need
you
fucking
know.
hobbies or something to do.
That is their hobby, is looking at what other people are up to.
Deprecate-
Yeah, exactly.
that's-
Watching.
that's-
Sadly, I think some people's hobbies is politics now,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is fucking
Absolutely.
hilarious. How is
Yeah.
that your hobby?
But it's not even
That's a joke.
It's not even a good form of political discourse. It's
no,
yeah.
it's a yelling.
yeah, it's me honing in
Louder
on
than
my
everybody
team,
else. Yeah.
and I'm going to stick with it.
And then the rebuttal would be like, it's the same as people who are into sports. Like, well, that's your hobby. It's like you have a team that you root for,
Right.
that you're trying to pull to the fucking finish line to win the championship or whatever. We're
Yeah.
doing the same fucking shit. So it's like, I understand that aspect of it.
Yo,
but
they're
like,
athletic.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, and they think that the politicians
They
are talented
They
as well.
tomahawk dunk. Does Trump tomahawk dunk?
I see a complete crossover with like your
Obama drain threes. What's up?
Draining threes.
Trump can drain through.
If Trump came out and just slam dunk,
Trump
I'd
would be,
vote for him.
Trump would be the starter on the team, obviously.
Bernie,
Like,
definitely.
Bernie has legit range.
Does he?
He does pop a shot and shit. He's got a pretty good form. So that's your guy. At least for the basketball side of it.
He's
But-
good for the beginning of an alley oop. But
yeah,
go on.
But no, like if you take going back to that, you take the fandom of like, let's just use Alabama football because that's a really easy one for college football. That is the
Alabama,
most
man.
I
that's
need
the-
a pee.
that is the most psychotic fan base.
Is it
Like college
For college,
football
yeah.
in the South
Why?
like that is just because they don't have a professional team. So that's their equivalent to a professional team. So
Yeah,
if
I don't
you're
even think about that.
if you're in fucking like Tuscaloosa or Alabama's got like Auburn and Alabama, and both of those are
This
like
is your world.
deep-
I don't.
Yeah,
know.
it's
Go
all
on.
deep rival shit. But like those are
They go hard as fuck.
they
for
are
those.
insane for a fan base, and see, and truly there is a crossover between that team aspect that you and I were just kind of touching on, where it's like that's a part of it now. Like Team Trump is literally like Team Trump. They
Oh
wear red.
yeah.
Like, you know,
It's-
all
they
like,
got the jersey. You
Yeah,
know, like,
the hat's the jersey,
You know,
like the hat is the jersey. Like they've
identifiers,
all,
yeah.
it's right there, and it's very easy for you to assimilate into that and feel safe within it and feel like there is a sense of community. And most of it, I think.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
And
for
with
sure.
going back now to what's causing all this crap with that, I mean, no one here at this table is going to answer that question. But I think with people being, even though we're all super connected now, you know, he's texting someone right now. You were
Nate.
looking at your phone before. You like that we have
Fuck that guy. What are you doing?
he wants to know if I want to get a beer tonight. I said, I'm on
There
the
you go.
fucking podcast.
we
working
have,
here.
but like we
Jesus, there it is.
we have our entire social world.
Do you guys know who Nate is?
God damn it.
Yes.
That could be your clip that you post this week. Where it's
Do
like,
you guys know
the
who
teaser.
Nate is? And then leave it as that. Actually, I'm gonna do that.
No name.
That's good.
Nothing. Just you guys.
Do you guys know who Nate is? Like,
Brr, brr.
everybody do one. I'll just do a 1 minute loop of
Yeah.
it.
It's
But anyway. Go
It's
on.
all.
Sorry.
It's all community seeking, and this idea that
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
even though people are more
trying to be inclusive.
yeah, and
you know,
people
in
are
a
more
group.
connected than ever before, but also there's this isolation aspect too.
Mm-hmm.
And so to find something that like much of a core group where these people think like me, they work like me, they have the same worldview as me. This is my team. This is my group.
Yeah.
This is my whatever.
It's validation.
Yeah, it's
you
the
know?
red hat, blue hat thing. These guys think like me. It's all, and so it's becoming more of a team element than anything else.
How much inclusion is exclusion, though? It's just like, that's what it is. It's just
Right.
like fucking
It's-
crazy. It's like,
it's weird how
we
that
hate
works.
these people so much and we
Right.
hate all they're about that we're in on something that they're fucking not.
I think it's a lot of just it's a developing thing where like you probably have like one idea that kind of it falls into like whatever that is, and then it's like, well, if they think that too, then I should probably think like how they're thinking about this,
Yeah.
and
that's-
they're making some good points all of a
that's-
sudden. It's
and
like, oh
that's
fuck, you know,
probably part of the. There's no gray area left anymore. It's
Yeah.
like you are universal.
Either or.
You
Yep.
universally believe this, or you
Yeah, it's-
universally believe all that on
But
that
if people
side.
just like realize most people on the right and left are normal. I would say
The ones not on the fringes, like everybody that's in between.
Yeah,
and
we
both
gotta-
of those people really, I mean, they're human beings that live in America. All they want is the best for this country, whether their ideas are right, with in line with yours or. You know? And no one's right. We're all fucking wrong. We're all gonna die, and nothing matters.
Just a bunch of apes on a moving
Because you
rock.
think you're right, you're not right. You're not Einstein, and even he wasn't right.
Yeah,
so
and
it's
but that's part of the problem too. Is like people get lost in that. Like there's no idea of a self identity anymore. If like I can't have a nuanced opinion on this. Like, even if you had a more nuanced opinion on guns and everything else was far left or whatever, like, I'm not even that it's the 90%, like, there's 5% on one and 5% on the other, and 90% is all gray.
Yeah.
And none of them are heard. None of those voices are out there.
They're not making
catering
a
to
big
the
deal
five.
about.
Yeah, you got to pick a side these days. Otherwise, you're just might as well just go home.
Like, you can't, like, you can't
you might
take
as well go home.
having, like, a nuanced, like, if you saying you're getting a FOID card, or you have a FOID card, you're getting a concealed
Oh,
carry.
I'll tell you, I'm complete. As far as economics go and my money and my business, I'm completely right wing.
Well, there you go.
If you're a businessman, you're not. You're an idiot.
Right. So now you're like, my money is this, and then my
If you're trying to run a business and you're not conservative in some aspects, I don't know what you're doing.
Well,
running
because
a
of what you're saying,
but everything else, I'm left.
I know, and I get shit on a lot. I get accused. I might have talked about this on another podcast. I've been accused of being a Trump supporter a lot of times because of my business outlook. And everyone's like, "Here comes the Trump guy." And I'm just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "Dude, I didn't vote for Trump." And they're like, "You're lying." And I'm just like, "Great." So I can't even. So what's the point? I'm just a
Because
fucking
of my
liar.
concern for my business, I'm all of a sudden,
Yeah, you're just assuming that. And then also, you could talk to my parents about it, who are, I mean, I make no bones about it. Like, they're two Trump supporters. They've given me shit. So if they're giving me shit on a consistent basis, not shit, but it's just like, my mother said something to the effect of me recently of like, where do you stand right now? And I go, I stand right in the fucking middle, man. Like, not in the middle, actually. I stand like, if you want to like level me up, it's like 70%, I'd say, on the liberal side, which is not full tilt liberal. I have a lot of conservative ideas that usually consist around economically, crime, and that's for the most part it. The rest of the shit is all, and then I believe that that's probably where the it's the best place to stand is like right kind of in the middle, or try to see both sides of it, because if not, it's just like,
don't just shut it off like because it's not your view. You know?
And I understand like liberals make great points about the Trump administration and all the horrible things they do on a regular basis, and I think that Trump, with that, like for example, that tweet that came right after the mass shooting, says a lot about him. That really fucking annoys me.
What did he say?
Well, he said something to the effect of like, this was a liberal guy doing it.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, that's not the main, that means
shouldn't be
nothing.
the focus right now.
Exactly.
He doesn't
Not at all
follow
focus.
like the rule your kindergarten teacher told you is like, don't stoop down to their level. he never follows it.
That guy is so into that.
It's like, dude,
that's
I
his
mean,
thing.
sometimes you're like, oh, his honesty, at least he's like saying something, and even if it's wrong, at least like he's not like putting up this political front and you don't know what he's doing, like the Clintons.
It's one of those things where it's like,
but then when he says shit like that, it's like, fuck you.
There's being honest, and then there's being like tactfully honest, you know?
Yeah.
And he is not tactful in any way.
He's not tactful, yeah.
He
lot of
just
that's-
shoots it out there, doesn't apologize
I feel
for
like
any of it.
he's
just
more
moves
at
on.
war with, like, I feel like he has some deep-seated resentment towards media from something that happened in the.
Well,
they probably
anytime
said
they
his
turn
show
on him,
sucked. Like,
I'm sure.
They probably said The Apprentice sucked, and now he like became president just to like chew
Just
them
to-
apart because that's
right.
all he cares
Fake
about.
news,
Well,
fake
it's
news,
also-
fake
well,
news,
And the
yeah.
news, both of them could fuck off too. They suck too.
He was a TV entertainer first and foremost, aside from all the other business ventures and all that stuff too. He was a TV huckster.
What do you
He
grifter.
does know how to play the. I mean, sometimes
He plays it
is
perfect.
playing the left. He knows it's pissing him off, and he's playing him like a bully. Like knows what to say
But
to
they
a
know how to
kid
taunt
to,
you to get
but
you
to get
upset.
him all upset.
But
He
the
knows that.
shit.
The other part though is, and this is where it's actually almost brilliant. Because if you are talking about playing to your most hardened core, tell your people directly through, because he doesn't even use like the presidential Twitter account. He uses his
Personal,
personal one, even though
And he misspells a lot.
yeah, which whatever. But Don't we all? But he
Obama smoked cigarettes.
yeah, and he wore a tan suit, and people lost their minds. But so like, if you're talking about controlling a message to your people, there's no better way than saying literally any other source of information you might have is going to be incorrect. I am your main source of this information. The shit I'm saying is the only area that's right, or the things that I particularly like. So like specific Fox News shows. He'll shit on specific Fox News shows now. He hates like Shepard Smith because that guy comparatively
Said
like
something
leads
about
to
it.
something, you know, because he has like he had a nuanced opinion once that wasn't just like Trump is, you know, our hero and overlord.
Right.
And so he's like banished or whatever the fuck.
It's like
But
the guys I work with. That's what they basically. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, are you guys sleeping with this guy?
So
What is
yeah, right.
going
They
on
worship
there?
him, man.
That's the thing.
That guy, you
Crazy.
know, I said this the other day, and I literally think it's true. Whatever he does, they're so for it, no matter what.
That's-
Like blindly following.
Yeah, it's
That I
fucking
swear to
weird.
God, I know it sounds bad, but don't edit this out. If he went on
Right,
television,
you said it.
I want to see, like, I don't want to see this, but if he went on television with a black person and like took a knife and cut their throat, I literally think they would still
That was his famous.
find a way.
He fucking
He said he could
something
shoot a
like
guy
that.
on Fifth
Did
Avenue.
you say that?
He didn't say
No, I
specifically
didn't.
like a
Trump
race.
said it
Trump
during-
said it. Yeah.
But
Trump
I
said
think
that.
if he actually went on television and killed like a black guy or a Mexican guy and slit his
there's
throat,
a large
they would
contingency of people
find
that'd be like, "Oh, that's fine."
they
You
would
know, like-
find a way to rationalize it, which is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
like, dude, this
Yeah.
guy's a politician. He's not even you would even worship your dad like you're worshiping
Right, like
this
you
guy.
are- yeah,
like
yeah.
get your perspective and life together, motherfucker.
That's another weird
like
thing
you
that
get-
people do with that.
I told my coworker this, and he couldn't answer it. I was like, "So what's like so bad about Trump?" He could not name something. I was like, "Say some bad shit about your dad. What don't you like about
and
your
then,
dad?"
like immediately,
No, but he like didn't say anything either. But he knew in his head, like, "Fuck you!" Like basically, like I'm like, "Yeah, exactly. You probably thought a million things about your dad in your
Right.
head, and you didn't
You
think about
worship
Trump.
this guy
You're
so much.
55. Grow up. Like, what the fuck is wrong with
like
you?"
that?
Yeah, but for that generation of guys too, he
definitely represents that,
Could be a
you
little
know.
godlike. I mean, he's got this hot Eastern European model wife. He's got billions allegedly.
Who doesn't want
That's
an
now
N-word?
being,
Yeah.
you know, maybe underreported, but he at least has a shitload of money. He has a home that's gold plated. Like there's a very specific set of.
Oh, if I had to
that's-
trade places with a guy, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Right, and like so, like
Dude, a
I know.
transsexual on the left at some Antifa rally would trade places with him, even if they say they wouldn't. The fuck out of here. You're an idiot if you wouldn't.
well, that covered all bases.
He's a billionaire ruling the world.
Yeah, but like, all of that plays into it. It's all building up this idea that he is actually infallible, and people inherently do that with political people, regardless.
Yeah, regardless if it's him or
like
not. Yeah, for sure.
no one was doing this when Trump was just hosting The Apprentice.
No.
It's only
No,
like,
yeah, nobody was
even when
bagging
he
on
was
that.
like running very far down in the polls for Republicans. People were like, "This is adorable. He'll be out soon enough." There's other people.
I think
there's
he
other
thought
options.
that, honestly.
Yeah, I
I don't know. After seeing that like Republican debate,
I don't know. I
was
think
like,
he was
oof,
pretty surprised
that's
he
rough.
won, though.
I mean,
Because, I mean, everyone was saying that Hillary, even Fox News thought Hillary was like a
yeah,
runaway.
yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, even like just like when they were setting up the the candidate for the Republican side, like it's rare that I watch any of those debates, but I was like, you know what, I kind of want to see this debate. I want to see what he's up against, just to see who.
It wasn't much.
It was not.
It was
I mean, talk
garbage.
about bottom of the fucking barrel,
Their
motherfuckers.
fucking
they
golden
had.
child was Jeb Bush, and
He's an idiot. though.
honestly,
He's a
the
fucking
lines
idiot.
Trump was coming up with against him were like hilarious.
Right? Yeah. What?
He's like, Jeb, if you get any more tired, you're gonna be at the end of the stage next debate or something like that. And I was like,
Turned
holy
into, like, a
shit.
roast.
And like Jeb's glasses were foggy, and he was like going like this. I was like, done.
You're done.
You're done.
You're done.
And that's
He
what
got
changed
you.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Yep.
all of it's
This guy's
been-
threw you in a locker.
Just
Yeah, it's all been, and it's sort of that because
That's crazy.
everyone's operating under this normalized political mentality where there's at least some semblance of decorum.
right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
if somebody goes out of their way to like say something to somebody, then like everyone goes
Rock
like,
the
oh.
boat,
But
yeah.
like, if he's just steamrolling,
Plus those like dudes
nobody
just
could get a break on it. No, they could not hang.
respond,
And
yeah.
like, if so, like Biden is, I guess, the Democratic leader right now.
That'd be terrible.
Trump-
He would get eaten up.
Trump will eat him alive. I think he'll eat Elizabeth Warren alive.
It's going to be if they're smart, which they should have did the last time, and they fucking fucked him. Is Bernie?
Bernie's the only one that can
Because it's gonna be
him.
it's gonna be like the Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
Honestly, they did like a side by side of both of them and how they like talk and all their beliefs and everything, and they're very similar people. Like,
Really?
yeah, like as far as being so like anti-establishment and all that.
They're both anti-establishment for sure.
Right. Whereas, like,
But I
feel
don't
like
think I
Trump
would be able to
doesn't
vote again. As much as I
talk like
want
that,
free my college tuition to get wiped, the fact that when they call him a socialist Democrat on television and he's like doesn't say I'm not socialist, I'm like, dude, that's just fucking scary. It's getting to the
They
point where it's
won't
like,
admit to
dude, you're accepting. America's accepting that this guy's calling himself socialist. It's like, what? Like, that's
is.
insane to me. Like, at least, I mean, after he did that, I was like, I can't vote for him. Because socialism's bullshit.
And then
And
also,
it always will be. It always was and it always will be.
the thing with socialism, which is funny, is those who like I like Bernie Sanders as a senator, as a person. He's cool. He's the only guy who could beat Trump in theory. Because I don't know if he could even beat him going to this election. But I will say this, which is the concept of socialism is so fucked up in a lot of ways that it's so ironic that people who support it every day purposely embrace capitalism simultaneously. And it's like an example would be this, which is like, if you go to like a show, if you see like a band that's on tour and the opening band they bring along with, like that's a capitalist fucking formula that they're imploring, which is like Melvins get 90% of the door, the opening band gets 10% of the door, right? That's how it works.
Yeah.
And so I guess if we're going to go full socialist aspect of it, that ceases to exist.
Oh, it gets it's way even simpler than that. They have amps by different brands of companies. They're capitalists.
Yeah, no,
They
seriously.
have
yeah.
a Gibson guitar. That shit wouldn't exist without capitalism.
I know, that's it.
None
yeah.
of it would.
Yeah.
You have an iPhone in your pocket. It's like, get real.
That's probably the most direct at this point.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, that's
also go ask any country that's socialist how that went. Go ask all their
How did that
citizens.
turn out?
It's like, Jesus Christ.
I'm okay with the idea of there being a softer version of capitalism to some degree, where it's like it's not so
Pretty much
fucking
any of those. Like,
cutthroat.
if you just bring it back a little bit, like, let's not go whole hog on these things. Can we just come back on some of them? Like,
Because the key with
like,
the key with this is like my friend was telling me. My friend's like a plumber. He's saying some shit where he's like, and it made perfect sense to me. He's like, dude, rich people. He does high end plumbing work, and he said something to the effect of, "Rich people will get you coming and get you going, dude." And I'm like, all right, explain what you mean to me. He's like, I have a blue collar company. We do make a lot of money. We gross a lot of money. We work with a lot of rich people and high end clients. All right. He goes, here's what I mean by that, which is like they are the slowest paying customers. They have the most money, mansions. This huge businesses are the
fight you on
slowest
the
paying.
price left and right.
He goes, if they're part of that top 1%, he goes, not only are they holding out paying me, he goes, on the back end of it, they are in theory like that 1% also controls like the banks and the credit card companies and all that stuff. He's leveraging all his money and paying interest on it because they won't pay him. You know what I'm saying? So like all that 1% is they're withholding money from him in one way. So they're essentially taking money out of his hands, and they're taking more money out of his hands because that company
Picking up that APR from him. Yeah.
exactly. Because that's like, so it's just like it's like a muscle bet. It's like, we're not going to lose no matter what, dude.
Well, they have so much capital that they can do that.
You wanna hear
whereas
a
a small
story?
business can't.
I sell LED lights to corporations. Fuck. I don't know if I should say this story. Because I'm still I still do business with them all the time.
Just don't drop the name.
Maybe I'll tell you guys after.
We found the one thing.
Found the one thing, dude.
Yeah, because that's like a fucking that's like a 2-year paycheck for me.
Yeah.
Off of one job. So I don't want to blow it.
Dude, people like I respect that because people will line up to get like raped by a rich dude just to get like be like, I'm gonna make some money from him.
Right.
Hey,
it's
let me
money,
tell what
money
he
is money.
did though. This guy, he had a girlfriend. You guys will all know who he is. He's like a Chicago kind of like legend in his own way.
Mike,
which is like funny.
No, but go on.
Legend. This is great. Whoever this guy is awesome.
So he's super rich.
Wait.
He's a Chicago legend in his own way.
In his own way.
Is it in sports?
No.
Okay.
It's in business, but you guys will all know his face, everything about him.
Okay.
Not everything about but you'll know exactly who it is when I tell you.
It's J.G. Wentworth.
He
It's
had
not real.
later on in
Mike
life,
figured that
when
out.
he was
Hot dogs?
older, he had a girlfriend who was younger than him, like
Gross.
Never.
in her 50s or
Never-
something. He's like 80.
That's actually not that bad.
Why would you ever do
Yeah,
that?
that's
Once
actually-
you hit 40, all bets are fucking off, dude. Because it's just like you're fucking 40.
She was cheating on him with his plastic surgeon. Okay?
Jeez.
So listen to what power does. So he divorced her, sued him for literally stealing his wife's love
Fuck off. That's
from
a thing.
him. But he knew that he could, and this
Call
guy
our
was a
lawyer.
surgeon. So what he did was he knew that it wasn't going to go over, that it's not a real thing, but he kept suing this guy and suing him and
So
bringing him to
the
court
court
so many
fees were
times.
just
Like,
crushing
hey,
him.
dude, I have so much money, I could do this for the rest of my life. And he sued him so many times, just the court fees of going in there
Yeah, just
took the guy out of
bankrupt him.
business.
Yeah.
Fucked him.
Holy shit.
There's
Fucking
a lot of
insane.
those stories, actually.
What?
I was Googling it just to see if I can find it.
There's a lot of them.
There's actually, there's
That's
a bunch
hell
of
of a move.
Let's see. A wife wins $9 million from husband's alleged mistress. That was in 2010.
I'll tell you guys this full story after this.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
Fun fact.
the guy's
I
kind of a
did-
little baller in his own way.
But yeah, that
80-year-old baller.
He's a legend in his own mind or whatever, or in his own way.
Fun fact, I did work. It's been a while actually since we worked for her, but I did work for this lady that got the largest divorce settlement in Illinois history, and it was like something like $500 million plus. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing was they were immigrants. They came here. Her husband had an engineering degree. I don't even know if she even had a college degree or whatever, but she was big into art, more specifically Russian art. And so she had her own art gallery, which was more or less probably funded by him or whatever. Because he made a fuck ton of money in what do you call it, like wind and solar and wind energy and all that, and started a company up. They came to this country with $500, and then the dude became like a billionaire.
The actual definition of what the American
Dream,
is supposed to be.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I never met the husband any of the times we ever did work. We always talked to his wife, and she was cool. She was actually a really nice person. We liked working with her. Never any issues. Really good about paying and stuff. And but it was crazy when we heard about like the divorce, because it was everywhere. We were just like largest divorce settlement in Illinois, and we're like, holy shit! Like we knew they had money, but I was like, I had no idea she had that, you know.
Yeah.
And I just remember we were talking to because we talked to all the contractors that they work with, and somebody was like, yeah, we saw her the other day. She was driving a brand new Porsche, and her and her grandma, like her and her mother, and like they could barely drive the fucking thing.
Yeah, of course.
They're gonna learn
And they
on
were
the job
pulling
with that one.
groceries out of it.
Yeah.
Imagine
That's
fucking
awesome.
Bezos like 10
Jeff.
years ago.
Yeah.
Bezos?
Yeah, Jeff Bezos.
I
You
prefer
said Beth. You said
prefer
Beth
Beth
Bezos. Beth
Fucking
Bezos.
Beth.
Beth Jesus.
Beth Bezos.
Stroking
Yeah, we actually
out.
talked about that on Sunday with that, because she's now the richest.
She's like up there in like the
she's-
top 10 richest
she's
women.
like
Bezos?
Bezos' wife.
wife, yeah,
ex-wife.
she's
yeah.
like top.
Good for her. That's
yeah,
awesome.
She's like in the top
She was there for the
5.
ground up.
Yeah, she's in like the top 5 richest women in the world.
just
now,
because of
because
the
of-
settlement.
yeah,
She
Yeah.
got like
that.
half of that, right? And he
She-
was worth what, 150 billion?
Yeah, she got like, I think she got 50. I think if he's worth 150, I think she got 50. And she's already
Dude,
said,
I need
she's-
to start going to Silicon Valley and start shaking my tail.
I mean, at least people.
I need to start fucking.
Get out there and start fucking.
Who invented Snapchat? He's about to get his dick sucked. But yeah, that story is insane. And then she's saying she's going to give up like most of it to charity in some capacity. We'll see how that goes. But
I
I
would
mean,
keep it all and just light it on fire every day to keep myself warm.
Jesus. Just throw it in a furnace like coal, you know?
well, this is a $3 million fire. Yeah.
Fuck you, fuck you.
I'd wipe my ass with it.
With 20s.
Yeah, with
hundreds,
I don't know,
probably.
probably dollar bills. I'm not gonna go crazy. I got a lot of things to buy.
There's that Sultan
Away
in
from
Saudi
him,
Arabia he doesn't have running water. He has champagne. Like
Fuck off.
Seriously. Like so, he flushes the toilet and there's champagne that goes through it.
Those guys make
He shits
Jeff
in
Bezos
champagne.
look like poor.
Yeah,
those
'cause-
oil,
those dudes,
oil
like, yeah,
guys
they go
are
hard as
insane.
fuck.
They go
Yeah.
hard as fuck.
They're like,
they're
give me like
richer
6
than-
cheetahs, a couple of tigers. Like, they're crazy.
They're not even on like
Yeah.
the Forbes list because they're just so rich.
No,
it's
those
just
are
insane.
those are the trillionaires
Yeah.
that nobody knows.
the
Yeah.
oil, like,
yeah,
tycoons
Saudi and
yeah.
what is it?
Dubai.
The Emirates of
UAE,
Air,
Arab Emirates.
yeah.
And their areas are just surrounded by poverty, and it's just
Right,
like,
isn't that
Jesus
crazy?
Christ.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
most extreme poverty you could think
like,
of.
it's one of the
Yeah.
biggest, like, gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah, those dudes, I
If
mean,
I
it's,
was-
like, comical. Like, what?
If I was those
Yeah,
people, I would
fucking
just fucking
comes-
storm the gate, dude, and just it's
There's
probably
another,
like
that
scum
thing is probably
sluts.
heavily enforced. Like, not even the Expendables themselves could get into that
Yeah,
fucking
those guys
place.
are-
You know what I'm
those guys
saying?
are
Like,
scum
holy
sluts,
shit.
Dude, those
Play
kids-
it. That's for you trillionaires, you scum sluts.
those
You have a
kids who
job, do it.
those kids who were at Lollapalooza who stormed that gate.
Oh, yeah.
The kids are getting fearless, like, because they have nothing really.
Nothing
they,
to lose
They
there.
got nothing to fucking lose, and they think
What's
they have
gonna
nothing
happen?
to
I'm gonna
live
go
for.
back home. Yeah, I got nothing to live for.
This world is so fucked. So okay, Lollapalooza. Okay, it sucks. You have to pay $90 to get into a concert or whatever. But at the same time, they arrive apparently through a Facebook group page to like meet at this. Yeah, seriously, that's what they do. Like meet at this corner. And
Kids,
at
like,
this
don't
moment, we're
ever
gonna
have
fucking.
a digital paper trail with these schemes, you morons.
Because if 60 people do it at once, which is,
Who's gonna stop
yeah,
us?
who's gonna
man?
stop us? Just
One
like
of
the
us
Area
will get
51
through.
thing or whatever. Yeah.
Not
The
worth
one
it.
cop stopped the kid with a
wheelchair.
No leg. He had a.
That's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
funny, dude.
That's the easy
you
pickings
sent that
right
to me.
there.
That was one of the
I
funniest.
was literally
fucking
like,
things
I was
seen.
like, if you're that cop, like, just let that guy
The
go.
one-
dude.
yeah,
the
yeah,
one
it's
person
the video.
like-
It doesn't just make you look bad that you're like stop that kid, but it also makes the whole police force look
Yeah.
bad. The one guy we stopped
It happened to
was
catch,
him
yeah.
with no leg.
Yeah.
That
And
does suck.
I know one of the
God.
cops that was like overrunning like the security for
Oh, really?
Lala too.
No
so this
shit.
probably doesn't look good to him. I'm not going to say his
No,
name.
that's fine. You don't have to.
This whole
Danny in the
episode.
video?
It was
This whole
fucking
episode was not gonna
Danny's
say
in the
anyone's
video
name.
jumping
This is one of
too.
the more, that we've done that.
Like, Danny's jumping over the fence too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for that guy,
Gotta get in there.
Today I'm not a cop.
the video.
We should have said his name.
That's okay. We didn't say a last name. It's not, no.
But yeah, that's like
Danny
hundreds
Ortega.
of kids.
Ortega. He's
That's
the
like
shit
hundreds
baron.
of kids that are jumping that fence, and then the one guy the cop catches, and like at the end of the video, you see it. It's like, oh, he got one. Who did
And
he
it's like,
get?
who did
And
he
then
get?
you see like a peg leg or some shit.
Yeah,
It's
I was
oh,
like
that's
literally
why.
like, wow.
Easy pickings.
Yeah. So
I'm surprised the media didn't eat that up. This is why Chicago
Also-
has so many murders.
well, if you're
Right.
talking about somebody that's fearless too, that kid has one leg. He clearly is just like,
do you get
fuck
over that
this shit. I'm also
This
going
is
to.
chicken or the egg. What do you think they tried to get over the fence first? The wheelchair or the kid?
I don't think he had a wheelchair. I think
Oh,
he had
No,
a.
he had a peg leg. Not a peg, but
And a pirate,
think
fucking one
it
eye,
wasn't like
cold earring.
prosthetic. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like it didn't have skin, like silicone
Yeah, it was-
skin.
okay,
It was
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
it's
the
like a-
metal.
Yeah,
right.
it was a bionic
Fucking
leg type of
peg.
deal.
Yeah,
But, like,
bionic leg.
yeah, but that is.
Peg leg. The shit I say is so antiquated, dude.
I love it.
I still call like we pass places. I'm like, is that an insane asylum? And like, he's like,
It's like, we
they
don't call
stopped
it
calling
anymore.
that in like 1890.
So what's it called now?
I don't know.
Mental health facility.
Oh, yeah, mental-
Yeah.
I still call it insane asylum.
the Madden one. Yeah. You guys remind me of
My
a story
bad.
that I told recently. Some friends of mine were. I was in a bar in Forest Park. I met up. I don't know if you were there. I know Eddie was there for sure. It was. I'll say I don't give a shit. Slanche or not Slanche. O'Sullivan's in Forest Park. Don't really frequent that bar because it's kind of like my old high school's bar. So like I can potentially run into people that I went to high school with that I don't give a fuck about. So I try to avoid it. But yeah, Eddie was like, "Hey man, we're happen to be at O'Sullivan's. You want to like come meet up for a drink?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." You know, it's in my neck of the woods. And I go over there and I walk in and I was probably like 27, 28 at the time. A long time ago now. And I'm like looking around. I'm like, man, this is a really young crowd in here. Like maybe I'm finally that old, or it's just like there's just some young ass fucking kids. Like what the fuck's going on? Hanging out, and it's packed in there. It's fucking jam packed. It's hard to get a drink. Next thing you know, the Forest Park cops roll in. One of which I kind of know, And his partner like stops me, like, let me see your ID. And I was like, what? He's like, let me see your ID. I was like, we're really doing this. I was like, yeah, sure, man, knock yourself out. I was like, I'm 28, you idiot.
Yeah.
Like, I look like this, basically. It's like, dude, really? You don't have to look that hard. And like the partner, the one that I knew, like looked over and was like, dude, he goes, he's fine. He's like, grab anybody else. Yeah. And by the time that happened, I turn around, the bar is fucking empty. It was like the fridge open, the cockroaches fled. Yeah. And I was like, oh, they were underage. Like, oh, shit.
Apparently everyone.
Like, everyone. So I was like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here because, like, the cops now are talking to the bartender, so you can't get a fucking drink. So we're like, let's get out. And as we're walking out, there's only one fucking kid that they nabbed out of all. Yeah. Had to be close to 100 fucking kids in there. Because it's one of those things, like, once one kid finds out they're serving underage, everybody's there.
Yeah.
And as I'm, like, walking out, the kid is, like, he's not even like on the cop car or anything. They're not even like, he's not cuffed or anything. They're just like standing there talking to him, bawling his fucking eyes out. He's like, I don't know where my friends are. They all left me. And the cop's like, he's like, kid, just calm down. He's like, it's gonna be all right. He's like, but I'm gonna be arrested. And he's like, we're gonna take you. Like, I could hear all of this. He's like, we're just gonna take you in and like call your folks. He's like, but I'm gonna be in trouble and my friends are gone. And the guy was like, dude, just chill. He's like, it's gonna be all right. Like, we're just gonna take you to the station, man. I was like, holy fuck, get it together, kid.
You know, it's so good because like every time some girl that I knew was always pulled over, I always would ask them the story. What happened? And they 100% of the time reveal sometime in the story that as soon as they were pulled over and the cop approached them, they started crying.
Oh, there you go.
And it's just like, dude, you got pulled over.
Go.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, but it was just organic. Like, it wasn't like to get out of something.
Terrified that they got
pulled
over.
You know,
or
like
something else was going on that they,
like, you know,
it's a good move.
You have a tail light out or whatever, you know, or like it's like not worth crying for. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Funny stuff. Cops.
So yeah, one of the things we talked about, and it's weird because these episodes are going to be out of order.
Mildly staggered.
Was we want, like, specifically Jack wanted to talk to you about wrestling.
Yes.
Because you guys are some of the bigger fans that I know when it comes to wrestling. And I figured this is a perfect time. Because, like, I don't know how often you guys get to talk. It's probably pretty rare, right?
I could not. I think the last time I saw you was that wedding.
Yeah, there you go. Or even like my birthday or something.
Yeah,
probably.
like truly.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the base thing. Did you go to All In as I wear an All In shirt?
All In, I was there.
Okay. Are you going to All Out?
I will be at All Out as well. I don't really like. All right. So real quick to those who don't know All In or All Out, what we're talking about.
Yeah, I try to fill them in on this too.
AEW is at this point the number 2 promotion behind WWE. WWE always had like a
monopoly of sorts.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with big money wrestling.
Grabbed everything, which is pretty crazy.
The owner of this one is the son of the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's a tech billionaire, has some bankroll behind him. And this is sort of the alternative version of wrestling where it's like harder matches, harder working, longer matches.
Not PG.
A little racy.
So it's kind of like more of like what would it be, like the Attitude Era of like WWE?
That's what they're trying to probably harken back to. And
you're okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I know things. Look at that.
You're catching up. There you go.
That was my era, though. It was like that.
It's
for
real
everybody.
Yeah.
That's who they're trying to get back.
It's real funny because I just watched SummerSlam on Sunday.
Which is why we had to reschedule this.
Exactly. And you guys rule for that. It's fucking awesome.
No problem. Yeah.
I just watched China getting slammed today on a Pornhub.
That came out at a bar. I went to like a
China's porn came on at a bar?
Yeah, it was at
Exit?
No, Porn and Chicken.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't there recently. This was like 5 years ago or
I've never
whatever.
actually been to that, but
that's a nightmare, dude.
That's a Mike joint, right?
Yeah, Mike Fittingham is bartending there. Come by for a drink, so I did.
Be sure to grab his CB oil. Was it CB oil? If you
He cut a huge fucking promo, dude. It was awesome.
The balls on that, man. It was so good. I love that. But anyway, sorry. So
AEW is now the legit number 2 promotion.
I mean, was there even one before that?
Yeah, there was
really?
one. There was one called TNA, or it was also called Impact Wrestling, which was like
kind of weird, like octagonal shape.
Yes, exactly.
They have that for a while.
Yeah. And then they were switching back and forth. But that was always the number 2, but by a far second. This is still a far cry from WWE, but they are doing shows in legit venues that are like, this event will be held once again this year at the Sears Center in Hoffman Estates.
Yep.
Yeah,
Holds
that's
15,000
crazy. He was
people.
telling me about that. Yeah.
15,000 people, and it's sold out within a matter of minutes. That whole thing. I will say this, and I was talking with at this SummerSlam party I went to the other day. I said straight up, and I thought I was gonna get fucking hammered on, so I was ready to defend myself, and then did a thing where as soon as I defend myself, everyone goes, "I pretty much agree with it," which is the number one thing right now is honestly like. I don't think any AEW wrestler would be like, if I ranked them in like the top 15 in the world, and I'd say like all of Vince McMahon's guys are like combined.
Yeah,
like,
it's top tier, but they got
top
the
tier, and
development to
like
it.
the number one dude in AEW arguably is the best wrestler is probably this guy named Kenny Omega. Anyone who I think he won Wrestler of the Year last year, and like they rank like the top 500 wrestlers in this magazine called PWI. It's like the biggest fucking deal because it's like, you know, if you're number one, you're number fucking one. This guy is great. I would think he's the best wrestler in AEW, but there's a few issues which I think people fail to realize, which is the first is he works a fraction of the amount of dates that any WWE guy does, because WWE are on the road fucking constantly. They wrestle sometimes 4 times a week. Which could be looked at 2 ways because their bodies are super beat up. That's the way I'm looking at it. The other side of it is they have time to practice their matches. So if they wrestle the same guy every night for like four nights a week leading up to a pay-per-view, that match should in theory be tight. But they're going to be super tired and worn out.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is Omega's promos compared to some of Vince's guys fucking suck compared to Vince's dudes. So he's great in the ring, but like I like the mic aspect of it too. Getting up and fucking doing it and talking. So for wrestling fans right now, my number one guy, I think the number one guy in the world is Bray Wyatt. Because he's so quick in the ring.
Is he in WWE?
Yes. Yeah. He's so quick in the ring, and he is. This kind of goes back. Remember that guy that was when we were growing up? His character was named IRS.
Yeah.
He was like a tax guy.
Yeah,
This is his son.
Oh, no shit.
Multiple
Okay.
generations. There's actually 2 of his sons are in WWE presently.
Yes.
No
One
shit.
is
What's
doing
the other one?
the other guy goes. Oh fuck me. He was a recent tag champ.
Bo Dallas?
Bo Dallas is his name. He's kind of just
The IRS had the write-off,
yeah,
right?
he's just
That
sort
was
of
his
off
move.
to the side.
This dude's a big dude. He's super quick, and his promo was like fucking next level. He's like got a character which is almost pseudo like sociopathic, and it's almost like currently they're building up this angle where he's almost like a deranged Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, it's a
Really?
weird character.
So weird.
And
I
they
like it.
completely they hard booted him. For years he was like Undertaker light, supposed to kind of take that mantle.
Okay.
And now it's more of
That's a tough set of shoes.
yeah,
to
it's
feel.
like he's a darker character that would initially go into the vein of your Undertaker.
So he's
Kane's,
more like a mankind.
Now I would say
area
now I would say it's this hard reboot with this weird character split is kind of falling into.
Or
it.
Al
He
Snow.
even now
Yeah,
has
I thought- yeah.
the
Yeah,
Whatever
so that-
happened to that guy?
yeah.
He is still
He was
He
the
still
mass
trains.
shooter in Ohio.
he's from Lima, Ohio. He is from Ohio.
Yeah, he is close.
Don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry.
No, Bray Wyatt even has the mandible claw now.
He does
If
the
you
mandible
want-
claw,
Yeah.
which is one of the things that deters me from.
He does do that?
He does do it. That kind of pisses me off.
Yeah.
did
That's a little
he
bit of a
did
bummer.
it to Mick Foley, thus passing the move.
Passing the move on.
to-
When did he do that? Mick Foley
It was
a
couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Mick Foley
No
came on
shit.
the show.
Pass the reins.
Dude,
Yeah.
that guy is literally the most badass wrestler ever.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about a hell of a promo,
No,
I
he's
mean,
great.
he was
Yeah.
like out of shape and would like fucking
carved
do
his own niche.
anything, dude.
He carved his own niche. I actually took a lot of the aspect of me trying to be I mean, this is not saying I'm anywhere near the level in comparison. That aspect of being a front man from Mick Foley, which is carving your own fucking niche on that stage.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't fucking fit until like you just literally make it and then you have your own fucking thing
Yeah.
going on. He's unreal. So I think Bray Wyatt's number one right now, and it changes every 6 months to a year. It could, like, wrestlers, you know, have hot years, they have cold years, and I think the number 2 guy is probably Seth Rollins at this point, who is the current champion, Universal Champion.
Who's the biggest guy right now?
in terms of physical size, or
No, I mean like who's
popularity.
Like, it was like
that's hard.
it was like The Rock.
That's really a
and
hard
then
question.
It was fucking. It was
WWE.
John Cena, and then it was
Yeah.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, so
They're still trying to figure that out. I
so
would say.
Roman Reigns is still active, and he's actually
He's
the
still
Rock's
huge.
Yeah, he's big. I mean, he's over. Like when he comes out, he gets a reaction every time. He's The Rock's cousin, and he's also in a new. He's in the new Fast and the Furious with The Rock.
The Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw. He is
He's
like a
legit his cousin.
Yes.
No shit.
Yeah, but all the Samoans, and it's not a joke. They're really all related. Everyone who's like in the wrestling world, except
Very
Samoan?
generational.
he's Samoan.
Yeah.
Yeah, except this dude Samoa Joe, who's also the best
Is he
wrestlers in the
not
world,
Samoan?
who's not related to all those dudes. He's Samoan though.
Oh, he is Samoan.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Rikishi was the best Samoan ever.
So like,
So
Isn't
he's
he
Rikishi.
related?
Rikishi's his cousin.
Rikishi was
Yeah.
related to this Roman Reigns dude. Yokozuna is loosely related
Yep.
because
What?
Yokozuna wasn't Asian. He was
Well,
Samoan.
The Rock's dad and
Really?
The Rock's whole
No
family was
shit.
like big wrestlers.
Yeah, his
right?
father was a big
dad, his
wrestler,
uncles
yeah.
and stuff.
So like that, the Samoan wrestling roots.
His grandfather. Roman Reigns is awesome. I love Brock Lesnar still.
But who's like the guy? Who's like the face?
They're really in a transitional time. Like I can't say I would say Cena, but Cena's Cena hasn't been a legit full-time wrestler in about 2 years at this
The
point.
biggest name on the WWE brand is WWE as a brand.
Yes.
They don't have a singular
Yeah.
figure, which is
And
by which
XFL's coming back
right.
too.
But part of that might be by design with what WWE's doing.
They're
where it's
hedging
like-
their bet. So
Yeah.
and they're kind of seeing what's going to rise, cream rises, and then also they're doing a thing where they're able to make money by not having, like in the 80s they weren't really able to put a good show together unless Hogan was on it.
Yeah. And if Hogan goes Hollywood, they can't do anything.
Yes. So it's like
The Rock,
this
the
is
Rock
weird.
got too big for WWE. And is
Stone
now-
Cold as well. So it's like anytime there's a show, they had to have that guy. Now it's
Yeah,
like
it
they don't have
happened-
to. They're able to split them up, and they're doing
It's like
house
the Conor
shows.
McGregor of fake wrestling.
He still got.
He got
some
bigger
fight
than
in
the
him,
sport. The first guy to get
This
bigger
is
than the sport.
this is also
Yeah, I
allowed
can see that.
for the female brand or branch or whatever the fuck you call it to really rise because they really started pushing a lot of these female faces like Charlotte Flair's in it. Who's Ric Flair's daughter. She's one of their biggest
cool.
wrestlers. Becky Lynch is like sort of like this newer character who's really, really hot right now. She's having a great year. Ronda Rousey, who was the ex-UFC girl's in it.
Is she doing well with it?
She did Killer, and then
She's out now.
she's out now. She was apparently trying to have a baby at one point, but I think she's coming back for this year's WrestleMania.
No shit.
So, long story short, it's like wrestling and their aspect is going really well. AEW is trying to rival that because the number one complaint that all wrestling fans will have is when they watch that show, it's very 5-minute matches. It's a lot of talking. So like this guy comes out and just shoots a promo or whatever, and it's just like I haven't seen anyone wrestle for 25 minutes out of a 3-hour show. And then AEW is like a lot of fucking wrestling, and it's just like shit like that.
Okay, so it's a little more
Racier
streamlined,
promos, but I just think that right now, like Omega's, if he's their best dude, that I rank him top 15 in the world. But at the same time, again, all of Vince's guys are ahead of them. Maybe top 10, like 10, which is fine. But like, if they're trying to rival WB, it's like, dude, that's your top guy. And then also like this guy named Cody Rhodes used to be, he's one of their main guys. He's Dusty Rhodes' son.
Yeah.
He used to be a WWE guy.
Brother of Gold Dust.
Brother
Yeah,
of Goldust.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like he's pretty good in the ring, but like they're building him as like the Triple H because he has a hand in the backstage politics as well.
Okay.
As like that company, and I'm just like he's not as good a wrestler as Triple H was. Like he's just not. Like he's good, you know what I'm saying? But like it's these dudes. Like I could take any of these WWE guys that are like second tier. Like a guy named anyone who watches wrestling, they don't know a guy named Finn Balor. He's like a guy that could go to AEW and be like the top guy in AEW like tomorrow. But he's like the 20th best WWE guy right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like
That they just had him. They had him just get destroyed by Bray Wyatt.
exactly.
To
And
make Bray Wyatt look good.
Okay.
it was a squash match for a guy that would run AEW if he went there. And it's just like, all right. So the other aspect is these guys are going to start jumping ship to go to AEW to get better spotlight on them. But then there's the other side of it, which is they wrestle less and thus get paid less. And the comfort of WWE is like none other. You get,
Right,
you get
I mean,
their
there's so
catering,
much-
their acolytes, and
yeah,
then you never know when you're going to get that push, and you're one push away from being like the biggest fucking thing. Because if there's an injury, if some guy retires, like Cena, no one expected him to retire and go to Hollywood this early, I guess. He had a long career, though. But that just opens up doors. You know, so it's just like you never fucking know.
The what do you call it? But it just shifts up. Yeah, like everybody goes up in rank or whatever.
If one guy bumps himself out, everybody else.
Yeah.
Best wrestler all time. You going with
I think the best wrestler is also my favorite wrestler, and that'd be Bret Hart.
best move all time?
Damn.
You know what? Honestly, best move.
Best individual move. Damn.
What's your best wrestler
Probably the
of all time?
Tombstone.
Tombstone?
That's a
Like, I
classic.
It's
think
pretty
that
iconic. Yeah.
because I think that when it comes down to it, it's so weird that like Tombstone and Sharpshooter are two of my favorites because it's like the Hitman was like the Sharpshooter. Tombstone is like obviously the Undertaker, but those moves carried on. Like there's a thing called the Tombstone pile driver, straight up. Like now because like it's become so fucking iconic.
Yeah.
And then some people still use the Sharpshooter, and it's called that, even though it was wrapped into those characters' names, sort of.
What about you? Best wrestler ever to you?
This is where I get super nerdy because like you can break it down, and he's kind of making the point. So WWE is character based, and how they tell a story leading up to it. Mm-hmm. And then and this happens in Japan too, and I think that's what this AEW thing's pulling from, where it's really the match quality and treating it more like a sport as opposed to the heightened, what's the word, like soap opera elements, which some people bitch about with WWE too, especially if they're leaning more towards like catering to a larger, wider audience, and the TVPG thing pissed off a lot of people in a certain age group and everything. So it's like, do I like certain guys because of promo shit? Like Mick Foley kind of captures a lot of it because I love the character as a kid. Mankind as a kid.
I love him as well.
And Cactus Jack and shit like that. And
Dude Love,
whatever. That was because that as a kid too, when I was all metal and like the darker shit, I was like, that doesn't even make any sense, and that kind of broke it for me. I was like, how can he be all of them? But like, there's a guy that can do one of the best promos. Like you watch his ECW promos and like you get fucking goosebumps. Yeah. The shit's like you believe it because he's like when he's threatening violence on a dude in one of those promos, you think it's legit. Yeah. Like you think he's gonna go out there with.
He's legit about it. Too.
Well, yeah, but he's softened heavily now, and he doesn't wrestle anymore. He was just kind of like coming in on this episode and did this thing for Bray Wyatt. But like, I mean, if you're talking like actual just wrestling, like some of the old Japanese dudes are fucking like Mitsuharu Misawa is like.
No, I'm saying like your favorite guy ever.
Fuck. That's hard, man. I liked Vader a lot. Like
Vader.
Rest in peace, by the way. I fucking love Vader.
He
He's
died,
the man.
right?
Yeah, he died recently.
Yeah, like a couple of years ago. Because like,
favorite move.
Yeah. Oh, god damn. A lot of the high flying flippy shit now. That's part of the problem.
Hardy Boys style.
Those were fun back in the day, but like just seeing some of that athleticism to it. If you're talking just like the classic moves, I mean, Tombstone was up there just because of an Undertaker obsession, and then Kane hijacked it too. That since they made them brothers in the story element, like both of them were using the same moveset, so that part of it was nice. But like, I liked anything like Rob Van Dam did, like in ECW days. So like his little Rolling Thunder thing.
I love it. Yeah,
I like what Chris
RVD was the shit.
Wasn't because Chris Benoit? My favorite move was what he did at home.
God damn it.
Well, and that's and that all joking aside, unfortunately.
Crippler cross. That's what you get. That's what you get.
That's Benoit's
the spirit
ghost.
of Benoit. Gotcha.
I saw Bill
Just got
fading away.
like,
he brought it right back.
Well, he's one that's obviously super controversial now, but like if you're talking about he
I
wasn't
don't know, he crushed it back in
he
the
wasn't
day.
much of a
like,
he wasn't much of a talker, but like if you're
Yeah.
talking about a dude that could just put on one of the best, like with anybody, just pull a dude and just have just an earth-shatteringly entertaining match that tells an unbelievable story, he's one of them. Like, and it's a short list too, especially for the American guys. Like if you're not including all the Japanese dork shit, like that's like North American stuff, that side of the world, like he's up there. Eddie Guerrero's up there for guys that are really in the know on that type of shit. Like not guys that necessarily were talkers, which is a massive element to it.
Right.
But like
it's the. I mean, yeah. It's,
What about
it's
you,
like a
Bill?
I don't even know. I enjoyed wrestling, but for a very small portion of it.
I know mine for sure. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's definitely one of
that's
like,
that's the most
like,
iconic.
and my
Yeah.
favorite move is the Razor's Edge.
That's a great move. Yeah.
It always looks dangerous as fuck.
Yeah.
You know,
Every guy that goes up into that move looks scared. Even if they have a plan.
Because you're really relying on the other guy to do it, right?
To not paralyze you.
Yeah. That was
But Stone Cold, come on.
He was definitely fun to watch. For
Actually,
sure.
The Rock too. I really that was my time though.
that's a very you're
That was my
preaching to a very specific area.
yeah. That was WWF in my time.
Yeah, and that's what everyone's.
What was
still
it called
trying
then?
to reach
The
Attitude Era.
Attitude Era, yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite era is the era before that, which would be like 80s. I love 80s wrestling so much.
for. That's that IRS era where everybody had jobs.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
like it was all just like
The Garbage Man, Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
yeah. There was a garbage man. There was Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
yeah.
There
That's
was
so
like
funny.
yeah.
I vaguely
Big Boss
remember
Man was
that
fully
Big Boss
a
Man was
cop.
a cop. Yeah.
Like that. All of those and through that were
Oh man.
That's one of the things I don't like about
good.
AEW as much, which is they lack character development because everyone's just like a badass.
A dude.
Like a badass. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, this guy, like one of the guys I find more entertaining on that show, AEW, is Joey Janela is this guy who's like, his name's the bad boy, Joey Janela. And he's like, he'll always take like an insane like risk throughout each match. Like he'll jump off a huge ladder or whatever. He's like throws caution to the wind. He's fucking crazy. But he's basically just like long hair, like wears sunglasses, like just like every badass wrestler character there ever was.
shitty, greasy 80s rocker guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is like honestly, it's like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the shows, Bill. It's the shows we play. You know, so it's just like it's that. Like it's just like all right, I know
That's a
that
good
guy.
one.
I know
like
that guy.
I've
So it's
seen that guy.
yeah, exactly, a million times.
Yeah.
So it's
I
like
see
we
that
don't
guy once a week.
we don't need a character based off that guy necessarily.
Fair enough.
You know, it's just pretty one dimensional. But the other side of it too is they don't want to be like, we're going to give you this lame at. Here's what I'm getting at. The Undertaker gimmick, when it was suggested to The Undertaker, I guarantee was like a lame-ass fucking gimmick. But Vince McMahon thought it was cool, and his cronies thought it was cool, so it was, you better roll with this or else you're not going to have a job here.
Right. Yeah. You got to.
Now it's like, it's almost like this new culture.
And then they literally were like, "You better roll with this and keep rolling, baby."
yeah, no, now it's like, keep on rolling, baby. Now they did a thing where...
God, did they ruin him when they did that?
That was a weird mid-period.
Yeah, what was that about?
what happened?
He was a
he was
Oh,
he was the American badass.
he was a biker.
He was a
Oh
biker,
yeah,
yeah.
I remember he used to come
came out
on
to
a
Kid
bike.
Rock and
I was like,
Oh,
what?
really?
I was like, they were like dead.
You're
But
the
alive.
Undertaker.
They do a thing where it's like when they suggest a gimmick to you, you have to get the most out of it. And if you don't, then eventually you're going to be out of the company, I guess. That whole thing. Now it's like,
Right.
it's almost like this new school mentality with anything, which is like these indie promoters don't want to offend anyone by being like, you have to be who we think, like, we just be you.
Oh,
And it's like
yeah, do
most
you.
of these dudes are just
Like dudes.
dudes who like
yeah.
metal, you know, who have like, you know, the same kind of tats, long hair, beards, like anything you could think of. It's just like aggressive personalities.
Right.
And it's just like, think of like, remember, you know, when we play like fucking Cobra or whatever, there's always one dude who's like fucking chiseled, long hair, like, you know, like he's got the look.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he, like
you know he's there. Like.
but
Yeah,
deep
like,
down
on
inside, if he
purpose,
shaved and cut his hair, he'd look like fucking a model.
Right.
That's all these wrestlers. And it's just like, okay, we get it. Like, that's your look. But then they're not going to be able to book a guy like a Mick Foley because only Vince could have that vision for it, so to
Right,
speak. Because if
to be
not,
able
it's
to
like,
develop that
it's all a bunch
character.
AEW's a bunch of like pretty boys for the most part. And then like their number one tag team right now is this tag team called the Young Bucks. And they're like fucking like long hair, kind of badasses, you know, that whole thing. They're kind of like Shawn Michaels or whatever, that whole thing. And like they're probably, that's the one upside about them is like they're probably the best tag team in the world. So at least they have that. But they're like all super kicks kind of, which is kind of annoying to me. And I also think that in WWE, the Usos are a better tag team in theory than them because I think they're just better. It's just that they're booked not in longer matches. That whole
also
thing.
Samoans and also Roman Reigns' cousins.
And
all those
also
guys.
they're Rikishi's
Were
sons.
they
Yes.
part of that
Yeah.
group or whatever?
How
that
big
he
are
was
their
in?
asses?
Not big. They're like
slim.
slender and they're like they got a good look to them.
That's
and like
pathetic.
yeah, that'd be like my one dream match right
Get
now.
the
Seeing
fuck out.
those two
Yeah.
tag teams go at it.
That move was insane when you think about it.
What
Oh yeah,
move?
the ass move.
What was it
Oh,
called?
It was the stink face.
Stink face.
Yeah.
Like watching compilations of that on Pornhub, insane, dude.
I dropped off like a bunch of.
I'm sure.
Not Rikishi, but it's other people too.
I was gonna say you could probably
It's a lot of
you could
pink
probably
eye.
find Rikishi ones on.
No, I
That too.
literally watched the Rikishi ones on YouTube, and I can't believe they like agreed to
him.
let
They
that
did it with
happen.
the women too. Women were doing the
Like,
stink
dude,
faces like
some of their
a-
faces were literally right up his, like touching his asshole.
Yeah, it's pretty
Hey
good.
man, you gotta collect the
It's
check.
like, what the fuck?
Here's a question.
They must have got a big check.
As
for that.
far as like, so wrestlers like your Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and like those big names, of all the ones and all the times you've watched, who do you think like who's like your least favorite out of all those? Like the big names.
All right, the big names.
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Or
that
whoever was like the face of wrestling for either WWF, WWE, WCW, any of those. Like,
I
who
will
do you
say
think-
this, which is the
like
most
undeserved, I guess maybe.
the
like,
most hated that had the biggest position is across the board is usually the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay,
Because
why
there's
is
a
that?
reason for that, which is he was the guy that
Oh,
You guys want some?
no.
What is that?
What is it?
It looks good.
Get on,
Great thing.
get on the mic.
No.
Wait, oh,
Got
yeah,
some
hold
spanakopita.
on.
Spanakopita in the house.
Oh, it's in the beard, so it's good.
Yeah, it's going well.
There goes the diet.
Fine.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Meg.
Go for it. This.
more?
Very demanding. I like
Oh God.
He
Everyone's like,
Yeah, it's perfect. It's an ASMR podcast now.
Hulk Hogan passed the torch to the Ultimate Warrior and did a thing where he couldn't handle it like Hogan did, and he was also really stiff in the ring, which basically means like, you know, it's just you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt wrestling. Stiff is a wrestling term for like it's just not like stiff like an erection, but.
it. Right. It's just like he doesn't have the flow.
And then
it's, like,
also
fucking up
he
probably.
lacks psychology and his promos were all over the place. He had a really good look to him.
Because
Well, he was like
Ultimate Warrior?
Well, he was like kind of like one of my favorite wrestlers to watch videos of is Sid Vicious because he was so fucking bad at talking.
Yeah, he ain't
You know, I thought he was okay. Like
Really?
I'm a big
I
Sid
mean,
fan.
I've only watched the failure like interviews that he does, which are some of the funniest things. Like I wish Nick was here because he always remembers the line where he's like, I forgot who he's yelling at, but he's telling the guy, he's like you're half the man I am, and I have half the brain you have.
Yeah, he screws up.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And
Like,
that,
there's
I mean,
so many of those. Where,
that
like,
is-
it's
that's
so
such
good.
a skill to have to do. But yeah, Ultimate
Oh,
Warrior
absolutely.
got a lot of.
Didn't he like? I know I've seen compilations where he's like just off the mark with like whatever.
Sid or Ultimate Warrior?
Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, he's just I'm cranked up to 11.
Yeah,
I'm screaming
yeah.
the entire time. And the other thing, here's another wrestling term. He would get blown up quick, which is you're breathing heavy and you don't have the cardio because that dude's jacked as fuck. And his whole entrance is like his music hits and he just dead sprints to the ring,
All muscle,
runs around
but
the
no
entire time.
cardio,
Yeah, he has
yeah.
no cardio. He does 2 moves and
awesome.
like, and a lot of his matches were him doing like 2 big moves and getting in, getting out to avoid that. Like they built
Really?
shit around the idea of him being in and out, finishing this within a minute and kind of just cutting out and going.
And when he's your champion, it gets annoying. And he was apparently really hard to deal with behind the scenes. Because of all that mixed within itself. And then, on the back end of it, too, he spent literally the early 2000s. He actually came to DePaul.
no shit.
I believe, out of town for it. He went on tour and gave these speeches where it was like essentially motivational speeches where one of the underlying themes was how he didn't like gays or the gay community.
Holy shit.
So,
yeah.
like, he has a
how
bad...
old was that guy?
He died in his 50s.
He died, and
Okay,
he did
that was
kind
in what?
of AIDS.
he did kind of right the ship a little bit and made amends with a lot of things, and he...
Sorry. God damn it. The look on your face sold that. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that.
Dead ass
video.
serious, just like
It's like,
He made
Go
amen-
on,
he
sorry.
made amends with all of WWE and all the fans. He was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame induction occurs the day before WrestleMania. He was at WrestleMania. He like comes out and waves or whatever. The next day on Raw, he comes out and does a promo for the fans, and he has this really ominous promo that really references life in general. And he talks about people breathing their last breaths and stuff like that. He dies the next day.
oh, that's right.
yeah.
And
I do remember that.
It
now.
was
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's crazy.
unbelievably poetic, if you were to say that. I was like, I mean, a bummer, but like it really tied everything together for him because he was
Who?
like the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, that's what I thought. I thought you were talking about Sid Vicious.
No,
I was
that
like,
guy's-
Sid Vicious
I was
is
like, what
alive.
happened with the
Still very much
Ultimate
alive.
Warrior?
Sid
Warrior?
Vicious's son is on that show Big Brother, or he was on one of the seasons.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, so
He doesn't wrestle, does he?
no,
No, none of those guys.
Dude, I
They
knew
don't-
the Ultimate Warrior was gonna die.
No, I mean
after
his
he,
son. His son doesn't wrestle.
remember he did that metal show with the I See Stars and that
what,
other band.
what was it? What was it? Wait, what did you
Like
say?
the
he
Ultimate
did a
Warrior?
show. Yeah, the Ultimate Warrior did a show where he like whips into shape
Yes,
these new metal
and it
bands.
was one. It was like Born of
And one of
Osiris
them
or
was-
whatever, wasn't it?
no,
Or,
but it was
It's like somebody
Asking Alexandria, and then he did I See
yeah.
Stars, and then he died, so he couldn't do any more of them.
Right, that was
What?
the
Oh,
end
I
of the
gotta
show.
see that. That's
You don't
You
remember
didn't
that?
see this?
No.
It's
Oh
like
my
it's
God,
like boot
it's
camp
the
for
best thing he's ever
bands.
did ever.
Yeah,
It was a television
Wait,
show.
what?
yeah.
He like wakes them up on the tour bus, like asking Alexandria.
You
like,
don't know
"Get
about
the
this."
fuck up!"
Yeah.
And his like veins are popping out, and they're like, and there's like women in the bus, and they're like all like, you know, like, I'm so hungover. And then he like makes them like work out and like do like sprints, and then
Yeah,
teaches
this was
them
the
about
thing.
life.
You can. I'm pretty sure
And
you
there
can
was-
find it on YouTube.
This is
Oh,
some,
100%
like,
you could
band
find it.
boot camp show.
Let's
That,
look up I See Stars or Asking Alexandria Ultimate,
Ultimate
Warrior,
Warrior,
and
you'll
there's like a
probably find
show
it.
that was on. Probably on
I
like
love what I'm
Travel
hearing.
Channel or something. I don't know.
I thought it was like I thought it was
Yes.
like an MTV thing,
Maybe it was. I don't know.
but I do remember that.
I don't know if the Warriors worked with MTV.
Dude, it's incredible too. It's just such a great show.
It's crazy.
You might catch a
Yeah.
random ass badass show on the Travel Channel, like here and there.
True. If it's not Man vs. Food,
And it's just
got to be something like that.
oh man,
Dude, he's like screaming in it. So where the
Like
me and Eddie were like, this guy's gonna like die,
have
and then he did.
aneurysm. Yeah.
Like he was so red, like
Yeah.
getting pissed off that like it was like holy shit.
so the cool thing is this though,
got
which is the
worked up.
WWE hired his wife, who's referred to as Dana Warrior, and
Okay.
she is a behind the scenes chick.
So
right
his
now,
legal
ambassador.
name is Warrior.
He changed his name to Warrior. And
Did he really?
Oh yeah.
yeah,
In it to win it.
for the
All right.
copyright.
Oh, okay.
Because WWE
All right.
would have owned all of it, and he wanted to make sure he can get money off of it. He wanted to be able to go out and be
okay.
like, "I'm
Warrior.
Warrior."
Ah,
So,
interesting.
what's cool-
there's another one more recently that did that too. But
Oh, that like legally changed his name.
yeah,
Who?
he goes by Ryback.
Oh, I've heard the name.
Ryan Reeves was his name, I think.
and
Yeah.
now he just goes by like Ryback.
Then
Solely
eventually
to
the artist formerly known as Ryback.
yeah, and he doesn't even. I
Here,
don't think-
it was called the Warriors Show. I can't believe you guys never saw this.
no, this is a complete.
This is
dead
like a
zone.
while ago now. I don't know, man.
You could probably edit this out, but we gotta watch at least this scene.
I was gonna say plug it into this if it can.
Get the fuck up.
We know about him.
We know about him.
That's asking Alexandria.
What the fuck was this?
Dude, this show rules. Travel Channel is amazing.
Gobbo, I can't believe you've never
I'm
seen
surprised
this.
you guys didn't hear about
Dude,
this.
I'm down with Travel Channel
This
for
probably
I don't know if it's
This
Travel
seems like
Channel,
lamb
but it's
goat like
something that would be.
fodder.
this probably aired like when I was not interested in either, so it just completely.
Just went under your
I'm
radar.
stunned. This is fascinating.
Now they talk about asking Alexandria, whatever. We get it.
Is
You
it
guys
both
get
those bands
pussy
in
and
one
you
episode?
suck.
Oh, they're like hard drinking and stuff. Hard
Yeah.
partying.
Yeah, because the whole idea is they're a band that parties, and
So he
he's
like
supposed
sits
to,
down and talks to him about life, and they're being little dipshits about it. Like, we just drink and fuck pussy, bro. And he's like, you need to work out. You need to be jacked.
That dude is fucking still yoked even in that video. It's obscene.
But you guys gotta sit.
I love it. I
You
can't
guys
wait to
gotta
watch
sit
it
at home
tonight.
and like
That's
watch
tonight,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I had no fucking clue. That's baffling.
Dude, I thought there was
What a-
gonna be way more coming, and the guy had a fucking how'd he die? Stroke? Heart attack?
Probably heart attack. I don't even
Probably hard.
remember.
It's like more often than not. That's usually how.
I mean, in this
A lot of
show,
those dudes
he's
have passed.
red constantly.
Yeah.
Like where his blood's like on the
boiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how he operated.
Yeah, I mean that's how he was in the
That,
ring,
yeah,
right?
It was all that.
He was full tilt. Yeah, so like wrestling's in a really good spot right now. It's really interesting and like unbelievably popular. They did a thing. Well, like you know what's funny is talking about Mick Foley. His daughter is
Doesn't
like
she wrestle?
she
Or
was
no,
gonna
or what
be
does
she was gonna be a wrestler at one point. I think it's over now, but she's
she acting or
She's
something?
kind of like honestly,
She's just like an Instagram model.
yeah. She's like
gorgeous from what I've
She's
heard.
just like a
right?
hot chick. Yeah.
she's like the Paris Hilton of the wrestling world.
Okay.
Where it's like she's famous for
royalty.
being famous.
Yeah. Like
And, like,
wrestling royalty.
She
yeah.
goes and checks in at these events wearing certain things, and I'll grant it, she's a huge fucking wrestling fan. Like she's a legit fan, but like it also wrestling comes with like the worst wrestlers have like 10,000 followers. Like and like
Oh, okay.
like
Yeah,
I'm talking about like
Really,
bottom
bottom
of
of the barrel. They're
and then
still
like
getting a lot
millions
of
obviously as it goes up. So like she has like 1 million followers because it's just like wrestling fans are like so fucking into it. So it's just like fandom's crazy. So like she is a person that just goes to events, hangs out at cool places. Like she'll go to like Universal Studios one day and just like tear it up, like just all that shit. And she Mick Foley's kind of a weird dichotomy where he's so hardcore in the ring, but her name's Noelle Foley. Mick Foley's a huge Christmas fan. And he actually wears a Christmas item every day of the year.
Really?
No matter what. Like, it's just weird.
He's
like
Santa obsessed. Yeah. There's some documentary
Really?
with
Didn't
him in
know
it.
that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, like, he's just that weird thing where it's like, you wouldn't expect that from Mick Foley, you know?
Right.
But that's it. That's her name, Noelle, obviously. But like, so like it's just like this interesting little subculture with like fandom and stuff like that. And obviously, all these legends right now are like able to go to these signings, or like they go on. Jake the Snake Roberts goes on tour and just tells stories. Like, and it's just that's cool. He'll come to like Beat Kitchen and tell stories. You know, it's just like shit like that, or like wrestling podcasts are fucking monstrous. And I got to give myself,
I've seen a couple.
I got to give myself props or whatever, because I wrote a wrestling article every week for Metal Sucks. It was about 2 years before wrestling broke, like again. And like I was doing it, and like every week would get more and more like comments on it, and then I started getting fucking hassled by what's called marks. Marks are like wrestling fans that are like too smart for their own good. That's how I look at it. I'm a wrestling fucking fan. I'm not a mark, all right? Where it's like, I buy shit a lot. I go to the events or whatever, but I don't fucking overthink it. And
Right. You take it for what it is, and you enjoy it, and you can talk about it in a
yeah. And then like another thing too is I'm a fan of everyone. Like, I don't do a thing where I don't have a predisposition to be like, when I go to a match, I watch it and I want everyone to fucking succeed. Like, that's just how I look at wrestling. And if you go to my house, I have a massive collection of wrestling figures, and a lot of them are still in the box from yesteryear and all that shit.
Awesome.
And like when it comes down to it, I do a thing where
Want to buy some?
yeah,
I have a ton from the Attitude Era.
I just need box. I only collect box ones at this point.
You want a Scotty 2 Hottie?
If you have it in a box, yeah.
I don't.
All right, yeah. So
Yeah, it's got to be in the box, man.
You know how many worms I did with that thing? its chest is worn off.
It's just the paint's clear. It's just silver. Yeah, no, there's definitely that element to it. That's kind of what this AEW thing kind of runs to too, because they think that it'll fill in the lapsed fans from that era. Like guys
bring
that
some of
watched,
those guys back.
Pretty much anyone in this generation is like the age group they're allegedly targeting.
yes,
Where, you know, everyone remembers the Attitude Era fondly, and they're trying to cater more
recreate
to
it again.
that part of it.
Because what was it, like the tipping point that made WWE go into the more, I guess you could say PG?
yeah. What happened was I think it was mainly this, which is there was
was part of
you know I think
Really?
they were
Was it
kind of
really
trying to move that way
post-that?
before, and what happened was this, which was the main reason the Attitude Era existed was they were in what was called the Monday Night War with WCW. They had
Right, I remember that.
So
I
it was
remember
their-
switching back and forth.
It was about going the more racy like would win in theory. Like it was just like pushing the fucking envelope because
right. Whoever is
kids wanted to see
the
racy
most
shit.
extreme.
Like we all grew up in the 90s basically. It was
the kid gloves were off, and everybody was talking
fucking-
about
it was-
whatever they wanted to talk about on radio and TV.
it was fucking
and,
crazy, and it was awesome in a way. It was I would go back there in a heartbeat.
It
And
was
when
a very liberating time that you didn't have to
loved
worry
it.
about much
Are you
of
kidding me?
anything.
The
I know,
90s?
and you know what? Honestly,
I used to think the 90s sucked until like I'm like now like holy shit, that was
Dude.
the last great decade.
It's a vastly different time.
you know what's funny? Because like people oftentimes accuse me, they're like, "You're Gobbo, you're fucking stuck in the '90s." Is like, yeah, I fucking am, because it was the shit, dude.
was
And
a
like,
good time.
it was another thing too. Is there was that element too, which was like you could have like fucking what do you call it? If you had like a problem with someone, it was again way less like roundabout where it was like passive aggressive, or it was just like, and it would be over, and it was just like everything just like had an easy way of resolving itself compared to
Yeah,
like nowadays where it's just like
everything's dragged out. Everything is just
so dragged out, and it's like
Talked
Pussies
about
you could
to,
grab in the
like, ad
90s,
nauseum.
all of them.
I mean, that's part of what he was selling, right? Was
but what
I
I'm
just power through.
No, I know what you're saying. It was so like it was simpler times.
carefree and like it's cool, you know, but whatever, it was awesome, and like they were pushing the envelope. And what happened was, as soon as WWE won that Monday Night War and WCW went out of business, they consciously went more like we don't have anyone to compete against, so we don't really need to push the envelope as much. We're gonna dip back to PG to get all our kids fans
get
back.
the whole fan base. Yeah.
And then right now it
I
kind
thought
of
they bought WCW. They
did.
put them out of business.
they put it out of business, and then they bought all their back catalog. So now they're able to
That's like-
show all their videos on the network and
And
stuff.
they
like,
bought all the wrestlers too, right?
no, they only
lot of
actually absorbed. I think they ended up absorbing about 7 wrestlers. The rest of them just
Who like Sting? All the
No,
big ones?
Sting ended up wrestling years later, like one match in WWE for WrestleMania. Sting didn't come over. The main guys they took were like Booker T, Rey Mysterio.
A lot of the guys that were
Steve
cruiserweights
Nash?
in WCW. Kevin Nash flip-flopped a
There's
lot.
Kevin Nash.
Yeah, Kevin Nash is just like
Benoit was one of the big ones. Jericho was one of the big ones.
Gregory Helms or
Oh,
Shane Helms.
Jericho? That's when he came over?
Yeah, but as soon as they bought him out though, they only took like 6 wrestlers with it
That
and
were on that roster
That were
when
on
they
that
closed.
roster still
Yeah.
when they closed.
They took more ECW
Flair,
guys
like they
than-
took more ECW guys.
Which
But Flair was
ECW
originally
guys did they take?
WWE,
What's
right?
up?
Which ECW guys did they take? Definitely.
Pretty
with
much,
them.
honestly,
Rob
pretty
Van
much
Dam.
all of them had.
I thought Benoit was ECW.
No.
Benoit
he did
initially
at one point.
he was
Oh,
initially
really?
in ECW for like about a year and a half span.
So
he
was
did
Jericho,
a lot of.
so was Guerrero.
What
so
happened
was-
to Total
Really?
Nonstop Action?
It's still around.
That's
They
still
actually-
around?
They actually have their
Oh.
flagship pay-per-view coming. This is going to be a clusterfuck for any Chicago wrestling fan. They have the All Out event coming in. It's Labor Day weekend, my birthday weekend. So that's at Hoffman Estates Sears Center. They have the flagship TNA pay-per-view called Bound for Glory coming in October, which is like October 12th, I want to
I
say.
think that's in Villa Park or
Villa
some
Park at the
shit.
Odeum. That's where all the old ECW events would come through. So it's like got a little bit of history there. And then
The only
also,
time I've been there was for Rob Zombie's.
I was there.
house
Yeah, that's where it was, man. That was the shit. And then, dude, that was fucking awesome.
I watched my friend fight MMA there once.
Really?
The Odeum's cool, man.
That's awesome.
And then they have one of the WWE's flagship pay-per-views called Survivor Series coming here in November. So it's like a total clusterfuck for wrestling fans. Like, I'm gonna be at 2 of the 3 for sure, you know. But like, it's just like a lot of fucking money and like. But Chicago is a great wrestling city. But the wrestling community, and this is a message to the wrestling fans out there, the wrestling community uses Chicago a lot. I mean, like, uses them. Like, they just know that we're fucking a bunch of marks, and they come here so often and will literally just take so much money from us. And we'll avoid all these other big cities. Like, they won't hit LA because LA is smarter about it, sort of.
They're
where
just
it's like,
scattershot too. Too
Yeah.
much shit to do, allegedly.
Yeah, too much shit to do, or like-
the Midwest does really well for this, basically,
or like
as a whole.
they'll go to like
And
Philly a lot.
Because we're fat shit cunts.
Like Philly has very passionate fans, and also any spillover is going to come from New York an hour away. So anyone who wants to get
Okay.
down there,
Yeah,
So
they
it's just
can-
like
they
they
can
are
reach it.
picking pockets of the United States, and just like Chicago though, they're coming here too much. We have a bunch of indie promotions that exist here that do shows once a month, like Logan Square Auditorium, for example, and they pack them out. And it's like, I guess it's coming. Like, I mean, I don't know if they're really trying to like guilt trip fans. Like, if you miss our show, you're not a part of the cause. But it's just like, dude, I don't want to see your promotion once every fucking month, unless literally I don't have the option to go see other wrestling. You know, where it's like I would go see if it was the only promotion offered, I'd go see it once a week or whatever. If it was like that was the only promotion I was able to get. But I have so many touring through my city, I have to pick and choose, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
I did a thing where like I really, really supported for a decade almost this indie federation called Ring of Honor, and they had all these big dudes in it that they're big dudes now, but basically WB started waving contracts in their face and say, come over here, you guys are fucking great workers. So like I want to say like 5 of the top 10 guys WWE has now all came through Ring of Honor. Like Seth Rollins, for example, I used to see him wrestler. His name was Tyler Black in Ring of Honor.
I mentioned Ring of Honor on Sunday, actually, when we
Did
had
you?
a
Okay.
jaunt about it. So
Daniel Bryan was in Ring of Honor, and he was called Bryan Danielson. Samoa Joe was in Ring of Honor. CM Punk, who's not in anymore, was a total
Right.
Ring of Honor guy. And these guys, I used to see them wrestle once every 6 weeks. They came through this place called Chicago, the Frontier Fieldhouse in Chicago Ridge, and it was fucking awesome. But then what happened was Ring of Honor got a lot of steam, and then they refused to do this thing where they were basically pussies about it, and they didn't offer any of the wrestlers contracts. And they said, like, you're an independent wrestler, do you? If you want to go to Japan for a week, if you want to do this, and this. And before you know it, WWE started fucking knocking on the door saying, come fucking wrestle for us, dudes. We'll train you our way. And, like,
Right.
you don't have to change your character much. They experimented with a couple guys. One of them was CM Punk, and CM Punk basically took the CM Punk character over to WWE, and he blew the fuck up. And then
Right.
everyone's like,
Yeah.
we're down, dude. Where do we sign up? And all these guys came over from Ring of Honor. Now, Ring of Honor, honestly, I think is in the verge of probably closing or merging with AEW because there's so much saturation now that Ring of Honor is an afterthought. But they were at one point for sure the number 3 company, and they were going to be eventually the number 2 company because they had got a TV deal, and TNA was floundering a little bit.
they basically, Ring of Honor basically backed this.
Yes.
Okay.
So before AEW was a standing alone thing, which is what we're going to at the end of the month,
Fuck yeah.
which is their like return to it. This All-In show had a lot of guys from that Impact or TNA thing, or what's left of it. A couple of them were in it. But Ring of Honor was basically like, we're backing Cody Rhodes, those Young Buck guys. They're all like the executive vice presidents, EVPs of AEW presently. So all those guys were wrestling for Ring of Honor in some capacity. Ring of Honor's like, yeah, this is an awesome idea that an independent show sells out 10,000 people or whatever, or, you know, a venue of that size. We'll back it on a production level, whatever. And they took that ball and basically just buried Ring of Honor's head in the fucking sand. What, now we're going to jump you. And now they've got this,
So, like,
what
leapfrog
is
them,
now
yeah.
like a burgeoning monolith, it looks like, and the only thing that can actually compete. Though I don't think anything can fundamentally compete with WWE.
That would take way too much time. You know?
I mean, shit, they've got
it's
Saudi
such a
billionaire money
established
behind them
thing,
now.
yeah.
Like the whole thing is just
The
crazy.
thing that we're not mentioning is that they have officially signed a TV deal with TNT. So AEW will have its own TV show premiering on, I think, Wednesday nights, which shows how much balls they have, which is they have none, because Monday nights are for Monday Night Raw, Tuesday nights are for SmackDown, and AEW is conveniently programming on
They switched
Wednesdays.
Is that the
SmackDown
long
to
time?
Tuesday?
Yeah.
It used to be Thursday.
It used to be
back,
actually
right?
Friday for a long time
it's
as
going.
well.
It's going back to Friday.
I'm talking about
Oh,
the,
it is. Yes, that's
I'm talking
right.
about the Attitude
So,
Era was Thursday.
What all days
Monday,
has
Thursday.
WWE wrestling then?
It will.
It's now Monday and Tuesday
Tuesday.
as of now, and then Sundays are the pay-per-views, and then
Okay.
occasionally they have pay-per-views on Saturdays because there's a brand that almost like a farm system called NXT that WWE
Yeah,
owns.
yeah,
So they
which-
usually air on
yeah.
Saturdays their pay-per-views. So long story short is you could see wrestling fucking every day of the week basically. There's house shows that go all the
7
weekends.
days too many.
Like so if you're chilling, like if you're checking out a house show, they'll come through your town on a Saturday. So say for example they're in Chicago on like Monday for Raw, they'll hit like Indianapolis or a second market on like that Saturday. So it's like they get all the Indianapolis Monday, come to Chicago, and that's their formula, dude. It's just like that.
They call them loops.
Yeah, they do
So
loops.
it's like unaired. Just
A real popular one is they'll do house shows in Green Bay, Milwaukee, and then some like Rockford outside Chicago thing, and then the
Okay.
big like Raw or SmackDown. One of the big shows will be in Chicago.
Always the
proper.
big cities.
And
yeah,
yeah.
gotcha.
So they kind of have this whole formula built in, and that's also how they pay the guys the way they do and the dates and all that shit.
So if all these AEW guys are going to start having to wrestle more because they're going to have a TV show that's a weekly TV show, but the thing is this, which is if you have a weekly TV show, you have to have fucking plots written, and the WWE writers are fucking beasts, and they just write and they constantly think months ahead. And I don't know if AEW could do that because they're so focused on the matches that like the matches, I'm going to think the fans are going to get desensitized to them once they see it for about a year. Where it's like, these guys worked their fucking ass off. After that, we're going to be yearning for something. Like, all right, well, what's fucking next? Is there a cool plot coming? Is there a faction? Is there this, and this? And if they don't keep getting new, fresh talent in there, I think they're going to crumble under their exact formula. They're going to get exposed, essentially. So
their most successful show or match to date from the shows that they've been producing themselves was, at least in terms of pub and people doing star ratings and all this other shit, was a match between Dustin Rhodes, formerly Goldust, who is basically wrestling for them now because he's working with his brother, basically. They had a match in Vegas, which was like their first branded show as All Elite Wrestling. And that was an old school, like in the greatest, and this is where Cody might actually be kind of okay in terms of holding the book, but it's an old school, like deep South, like brothers hating brothers brawl. And it's bloody as shit. Goldust like cuts himself open and he bleeds like a stuck pig. The whole
Right.
face, like, but there's emotion at the end. There's a promo at the end where everyone's crying and hugging and all this other shit. It's a story in that little subset perfectly done and kind of covers all the crap that right now they might not be ahead of in terms of, they are really into flippy shit. They're into moves. They're into just the actual fight element. But that match specifically kind of crossed over because it covered all bases to all people and it told the story, but it was also a good match. It was still entertaining. all the other crap. It's that kind of gentle balance that because they're talking like wins and losses are going to matter. The records are going to be like MMA shit, basically. Like where if this guy's 13-2 and this guy's 7-7, they're
Interesting.
they're trying
Yeah,
to
never
get
thought
into
about
this
that.
vein of like this is a sport that just so happens to be professional wrestling.
Okay.
And WWE, when they dropped the F and became the E, the entertainment thing. And this is like weird corporate speak that people tend to give Vince crap for now in his later years. But he doesn't call it professional wrestling. He calls it sports entertainment because there's the sport aspect and there's also the storytelling and all the other.
The drama,
Yes.
entertainment. Yeah.
So it's two diametrically opposed things where one is saying we are professional wrestling. The other one's going, we are sports entertainment. And they're just going to... The fun part, though, is that NXT is probably going to be on FS1 running on Wednesdays also. Like, WWE now is like, we're going to
try to fucking kick a can in the balls.
Yeah.
The match that Jax has talked about, I think, is going to probably win match of the year because everything he said is like 100% true. I got the same exact reaction towards it. It was a great match.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it.
They built it up accordingly, too, over weeks. Like, they did all these video promos and all this
Plus,
other
we have
cool.
we have to reiterate, the two kids are, the two guys in that match were brothers, and they're the sons of Dusty Rhodes. So it's like, who is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time? So like, it was just it was just everything. It was all encompassing.
Yeah.
It was really, really fucking cool. My favorite match of the year so far, though, and I was telling someone about this, is the match that was, we were treated to this match, which was it was the beginning of summer, actually. It was Goldberg versus The Undertaker. Both essentially came out of retirement for this one match, and it was a total clusterfuck.
It was in Saudi
That's
Arabia.
what
they
I heard.
basically did it for multi-million-dollar payouts.
Right.
And it
And
was
the
like
gist of it was both those dudes are a little old now, and
they almost both
right?
essentially died in like a 5-minute match.
Yeah.
Like people were dropped on their heads.
Right.
Concussions
There was a lot
were
of
had.
botched,
They were
like,
sweating
moves, yeah.
profusely because it was 120 degrees. And
Jesus.
it was like The movie The Room of wrestling matches. It was like such a perfect storm of nonsense that you could not fucking
That's awesome.
write it any like worse. If you
Goldberg,
tried.
Hi,
Goldberg was
Goldberg.
coming to. He came to the ring already cut
That's
up on the
awesome.
forehead because he was probably smashing his head against the door.
Oh,
he goes
okay.
for a spear on Undertaker, immediately runs his head into the post, gets
Yes.
badly concussed, and you can see he's stumbling immediately, like he is out. And they finish the match, and they're also in their 50s. Undertaker's had a variety of health issues.
Oh, yeah, for
when
sure.
Goldberg is a
He
little
was
more
moving
insulated.
slow when I was a kid.
Exactly. So like
Right.
that's
I mean, he's such a hulking
Undertaker
dude,
kind of
yeah.
redeemed himself after the fact. It's more on Goldberg's
Goldberg,
concussion,
yeah.
but that one is it's unfathomably
That's a
bad to
real
watch because it's immediate, like he psyched himself up too much. He basically
tired himself
he
out like a
ultimate
little
warriored
kid.
himself.
Yeah,
He blew
yeah.
himself
And
up.
the best is like it's 120 degrees in Saudi Arabia, and they're having this match for like people who are just like, they're not the best wrestling fans. They're just that they overbid for this show.
Right, yeah, they pumped as much money as they
It's one of
could.
it's like. It's
make
one
it
of the
happen.
heads of like the Saudi government that just happens to be a wrestling
Right,
fan.
yeah,
and
for
he's just
sure.
got trillions of dollars that he's just throwing at, and like
Yeah, money talks and,
and
bullshit walks.
he's so
yeah, for
bad
sure.
that he's asking Vince McMahon to book guys that are long dead.
Yeah, and like McMahon's doing it because he's like, whatever it takes.
Hey,
Yeah.
But
The
the
very
dollar
first show,
signs are there.
the very
Yeah,
first
yeah.
show, he was like, "Hey, I want Yokozuna, who's been dead for 20 years." So they just walked out a sumo
Oh, no.
wrestler. They just walked out a sumo wrestler for
Get
a
the
gigantic 60-man
Fuck
battle royal.
out. Are you for real?
Yeah, that they
And,
immediately
like-
threw out, and they were just like, "Yeah, that was Yokozuna, right?" Like, and like they don't know, like the Saudi dudes don't give
They
a fuck.
don't know.
They were
or
just
probably
like, "All
don't
right,
care.
pay us
They're
monies, like it's
yeah.
fine." Like
They
it
brought
was-
him back. That's good. Yes.
So they're asking
Holy
for like he's asking for like Big Boss
shit.
Man who's long dead. Like we talked about it on the Sunday one
Yeah.
that'll drop a month after this
Yeah,
one.
well after
How
this.
all the guys from like when we played No Mercy on N64, how that entire
That
roster of
roster
guys
is
is
just-
all dead.
yeah,
They're all fucking
it's-
dead. Like it's just
It's staggering to see
Yeah.
how many of those dudes from when, like, at least when I watched it in that era,
Yeah.
like, how so many of them are gone. It's so
Yeah.
fucking tragic.
and all that
sad.
violent shit. I think like had
I
a
mean, you
tipping
can't
point
do
too,
that
so-
your whole life.
No,
No, absolutely
There's definitely-
not. It's
there's a
so
timestamp
fucking
on it, but-
physically demanding.
especially
on top
during
of the
that
fact
time,
that
yeah.
I mean, like, to be honest, they're doing their fair share of like medical needs for that stuff.
Yep.
That's ultimately
extracurricular crap. Yeah, yeah.
putting a huge toll on their bodies internally, and which is why more often than not, those dudes.
You know
end
what's
up
funny
having
is like
heart
I
attacks,
did
you
a
know?
thing where one of my favorite matches of all time is the Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man. He was Macho Man at fucking WrestleMania 7. It was a career-ending match. It was supposed to be. Now there's a lot of people in that match. So it was those two. Miss Elizabeth, Sherry was also there. There was a referee, and I watched the match. And right after Warrior died, not too long ago, he died several years ago at this point. And I was like, man, I'm just like doing this in tribute for Warrior. And then I'm like, oh, I guess I'm doing it for tribute for Macho Man too. And then I started realizing up until even the referee, everyone was dead.
Yep. Everybody
Holy
involved in that
shit.
match is dead.
Oh, also the commentators, which is Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Gone.
Yeah. So it's like literally anyone involved in that match. And that was from the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Not that long ago.
Heenan's the
you
most
know.
recent death out of that group.
okay,
too.
so
Who
yes.
are,
All
who
right,
are the
so
current like commentary dudes?
just
now
a bunch of
for WWE?
randoms. And
They have
Michael
a
Cole.
Sarge
Michael Cole is still. He
remember
was
the
like,
name.
yeah,
I could
he's
probably picture
still
him.
a part of it.
he was
Who's
part of the
that?
Attitude
What
Era.
about,
what?
King?
no, no,
King's
no,
gone.
no. Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but
What
long
about
time.
JR?
JR's
JR is
with
in AEW. He's the lead
No
commentator.
way.
No
Really?
shit.
Yeah.
Really?
They
That's to
signed-
do with the cowboy hat, right?
Yep. They signed him.
Dude, he's the fucking
Oh
best
man,
one.
I love that guy.
He is the best
The
storyteller.
Heinous.
So that's the other thing too. Like, so
heinous.
well, that's another thing. So if you're talking about that dichotomy, because JR can't call any of the weird flippy shit AEW does, but listen to him. Like, if you want to just relive Attitude Era crap, him calling that Rhodes match is fucking gold.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he
it's-
can just lay out the pace of this match is better for him to tell the story.
I see.
He's
Okay,
lost
okay,
his
okay.
fastball a little bit just because he's older. He's had like strokes and all
Oh,
this
I
shit.
know.
But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
but him calling that, like he was
That was, like,
signed
in his
He
wheelhouse,
was signed
yeah.
by AEW to call that match.
Oh,
Because like
okay,
AEW is
okay,
also
okay.
throwing out all these Japanese women that have this insane, like all this weird flippy shit that he doesn't even know what's going on. He's calling them Orientals on air. Like he doesn't like he's just
Yeah,
like
there's-
live. He's watching the
Holy-
match.
he's
like
the old man.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's just like
yeah.
I don't even like on air during these shows. He's like I don't even know what I'm watching right now
I don't know what's going on.
because it's just a bunch of wild ass flippy shit and all.
That's
like it's the
awesome.
modern version of this wrestling.
who's the dude? He's the glasses and like I'm trying to think what he did, but he was like a big part of like WWF. I saw him recently at C2E2, and one thing I do watch a lot with my buddy Nick, who's been on the show before, is Botchamania.
Yeah, it's awesome.
buddy.
Is like the best, but
Jim Cornette.
I think so. That dude's at C2E2, and that dude's fucking hysterical. And I was
Yeah,
like, I really regret
Did he have a tennis
not.
racket?
No,
That was
he
his gimmick.
like-
Yeah,
is
it's
that what it
either.
was? I think yeah.
I'm
that's the
thinking you're
guy.
either talking about Jim Cornette or Bruce Pritchard.
I think it's Jim Cornette.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bruce Pritchard is has the #1 podcast. What he says it's behind Rogan's like number 2 or some shit.
Really?
Like his podcast is it's probably a wrestling exaggeration, but his podcast is called Something to Wrestle. It's insanely popular.
And what did he do?
It's basically
Was he one of the
He was a
commentators?
massive. He was a commentator. He was a valet. He was a huge behind the scene dude. He was
He
one
was-
of Vince's like right hand
right-hand man. Yeah, and
so yeah, he's got stories. I'm sure.
stories are incredible.
On top of being able to probably.
So
pull
basically,
some good
this is
guests.
it, man. It's like they'll be like the topic for the show is Lex Luger, and then he tells
Every fucking story
every
possible.
Lex
3.5
Luger
hours
story,
of Lex Luger.
and then
That's
it.
awesome.
And they just go through it, and then they'll tell you all these fucking stories, and it's fucking ridiculous. It's so compelling, and like the story,
yeah, for
the
sure.
stories range for like unbelievably humorous to like unbelievably
tragic,
sentimental and
yeah.
heartbreaking, and it's fucking outstanding. It's so good,
That's
man.
funny.
It's a great show.
I do like the every once in a while, like it's
I'm
nice.
in this.
Yeah, I've been like eyeing that too. I was like, oh, this is look good. It's nice because like I'm not like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of wrestling, but I do enjoy like aspects of it. And
I'm
there was
getting him to go
there
to
was
a show.
Yeah, and there's periods of it that I like.
What show?
It's this little one that I fell into. They run shows out of the wire.
In Berwyn.
They're called Kaiju
really?
Attack Wrestling.
Yeah, you've probably seen the posters. Like I've
There
seen
might have
like,
been some
all
posters.
over the
I mean,
place.
they're like a little indie out of a little indie. And if you want,
I like Wire.
I'm
yeah,
stoked.
No,
I'm
that's part of
really
it too.
stoked.
So I walked.
Are we
in
close to Wire right now?
Yeah.
there. It's like
Yeah.
15, 20.
Just
yeah,
drive
for
down
me.
Oh,
Roosevelt.
man.
Oh yeah, I guess
At this point,
traffic right now.
Yeah, traffic's not bad.
But yeah,
really close.
it's pretty damn close. And I fell into it because this was a couple years ago.
I go to Gina's Italian Lemonade all the time.
Right, they know you still to this day.
I have my pictures in that
the
place.
amount of crust on your stomach.
That's good.
Yeah.
I need to go eat dinner. So that's just wrestling talk about.
Got you all.
That's fine.
I mean, oh, we're
It was also rip on
yeah.
my wrestling figures. They're fighting.
Find if you can find this
If you
guy.
can find him.
Later on,
Oh my God.
I'm going to
This
tweet
will
my
be good.
wrestling collection later on for all you guys. On the
Please send it to me, and I can post
It's
it
insane.
on there.
It's
Yeah,
really,
it's a
really
good
fucking crazy. But like, I'm a guy that like my wheelhouse for collecting figures is anything 80s in the box and anything 90s in the box.
Sure.
I love that shit.
Fuck yeah.
Nothing.
All right, but I'm gonna look up to that promotion at Wire. That sounds cool.
It's fun.
Yeah, yeah,
I
so
fell
we're
into
gonna
it.
go.
It was a couple years ago. Jess went on her bachelorette weekend
That's
thing.
awesome.
She went to Vegas with some friends. I wasn't doing shit. I didn't do like a formal bachelor party or anything like that. And I was just at Brixie's with a couple dudes, and they were like, "Hey, I saw this ad for this wrestling thing at the Wire. It's like $10. Do you want to
Seems
just
like
walk
something
in?"
you like.
Yeah, and I just walked right in, and they do bands in little interstitials also.
Yes.
Like halfway through, which is why I kind of
Which
wanted
is
to
probably
bring it up to you,
something
too.
we should look into.
Didn't we?
They
didn't
do-
we play
did
a
we
show
get-
with a wrestling or whatever. There was some shit where we were
No.
gonna play something, and then
See, I thought we
something-
got an offer.
They
I
have-
couldn't. I wasn't sure if it was us or if it was Roman Ring that got an offer to do that very show.
Yeah, they have a
at
couple
Wire.
band. They'll have a band
which
that
I'm
like
100%
opens or
down.
do the intermission and stuff. And like the bands I've seen when I went, because I haven't gone in a little while. But like if you want to talk about like guys that like if you want to like there's one they can pack the Wire like without much of anything. And they also had Kylie Ray of AEW fame and now Marco Stunt wrestled for them at one point or another before everything went boom. So like they pull guys that get some pub here and there too, which is kind of funny. Even though Marco Stunt, I mentioned him to you on Sunday too. He looks like he's a 12-year-old. He's like 90 pounds and like not a wrestler in the
Right, the
prototypical sense
traditional
of
style.
anyway.
His name is Stunt.
Yeah. So and like
Is that his
literally,
real name or?
I'm sure it's not. But his whole gimmick is like literally they can just like take him and just throw him. Like that's his little bit. But yeah, so a couple years ago they started. They still run like a couple shows a month, and they're back at the Wire in a week or so. Like the following Thursday or whatever, the 22nd, they have a show.
Oh,
So-
we didn't play a wrestling. We played. No, we recently played at outdoor party where the mud wrestling was going on down the street.
Yeah,
That's all. That's what I was
That's
thinking.
pretty phenomenal.
which I found out. I don't know if somebody ever corrected you, but you made a joke during the show that you're like, "Where's Judge Judy at?" It was not Judge Judy. It was
Judge Mathis.
no Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh God.
That's who she was. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, Ruth.
She was there.
Yeah. So I go.
Yeah, she was there.
I
She
said
was mud wrestling.
I said something like
wrestling.
Judge Judy's hot or whatever. Get her up.
She was a
here
cute
or
girl,
whatever.
yeah.
She was. Yeah, obviously. And
Very
then
cute girl.
did a thing where
Also, that speaking of corrections, so the last episode, the one with Rudy,
Yeah.
the girl that was like emceeing that night was not Sarah Squirm. Eddie has yelled at me multiple fucking times about it. He's like, "It's not that chick, dude. It's not. You guys
Okay.
keep saying it is."
All right, so
It's
wait.
not
So there's
her.
another attractive Jewish.
Okay.
brunette. Yeah.
All right, so this is.
Who is it then?
I don't know. So Rudy,
forgot what her
if you
name
followed up on
was
episodes
then.
and if,
How's
if
he
you
not?
could figure it
How's he
out.
know it's not Sarah Squirm if he doesn't know who it is? Then
Turn to him. He's the
Well,
one that knows.
was the girl wearing like
doesn't
absurd?
know.
No, it was
clothes
the
or
other.
whatever?
It was the other Eddie that said this to you, or
Yes.
was it? Okay, yes.
Not you.
he
yeah,
doesn't
I did.
know.
I said it
Little
was.
Eddie.
I said it was Sarah Squirm.
at the
Yes,
I
you
said
are
that.
one
Yeah,
of
I
the
know.
people that like is always saying that, and I do it too because I'm like, I think that's what they said because I wasn't fucking there, and then Eddie was there, and I was like, no, dude, it wasn't her, and I'm like,
All right, wait, so
fuck,
listen, no,
I
wait.
I
don't
can't
know.
even picture what she looked
All right,
like.
no, wait,
Everyone
wait,
thought she was so
she
hot, and I was like,
dressed,
not
was
really.
She dressed up like kind of like weird.
I mean, honestly,
All right, no, wait. All
she
right,
wasn't my cup of tea.
all right. So no, I just
Oh,
see.
fair enough.
This is.
I don't
this is-
remember what she looked like at
No,
all.
this is the story. This is the history of Sarah Squirm. So what happened was someone was saying something about. All right, Sweet Cobra played a show, and they
and it had a
had
comedian.
opened up who was this girl.
Gabe was the one that saw it.
No,
right?
No. Okay, so I mentioned the show, and I'm like, I think Ed or someone goes, "Who's opening that show?" I go, "Well, Meatwave's playing in this comedian named Sarah Squirm, who I saw." And then I'm like, I described her, and everyone's like, "She sounds like kind of quirky and cute." I'm like, "Yeah, she's
Right.
cute, whatever. She's real funny." And then Gabe came in. He goes like a week later. He goes, I saw like the best like
This was not her.
Okay, yeah, I feel like she stands out like a
Wait,
sore
say-
thumb.
Yeah, this was
You would
not
have remembered her, so it is
So
another
Gabe
Let me
did
see
see-
her.
So Eddie is right once again.
No.
So Gabe
don't know.
did
No.
see her, and then he goes, "Oh my god!" Like I fell in love with her.
Okay.
And then I go, "That's her." I'm like, "That's the girl that's opening for Sweet Cobra." Like, and then it gave
It turned into like the
this whole like folklore
because
thing.
while that was happening, the James open mic thing happened at the same time, and then there was a weird crossover.
and then
And every time we always mention it's her, and Eddie gets so because he's a fan of the show and listens to every episode, and is like, "You guys are morons."
And then also, it's pseudo sexist of us just to assume any funny female Chicago comedian
It's
is
got to
her.
be her, right?
It was her.
Is there any other one?
I feel like the other girl's name was Sarah too. Though.
Silverman. Sarah Silverman.
Hey
That's
man,
who it
remember the
was.
time we ran in there?
Yeah, we ran into her. Yeah,
Yeah,
Did
fun
you?
story.
Sarah Silverman?
right outside
Yeah.
the metro.
Oh, dude,
We,
I love her. Like I used to love her. Like then I kind of got out of the
Kinda
mix because I
dropped
think she kind of started to do
He got
like
married.
she started to do these like films where it was like trying to send a
Kimmel?
message.
No, no, really?
Yeah,
What?
like she was in a
Wreck-It Ralph.
No, she was in an independent film where she was like it was based on the life of her mother where it was like she was chronically depressed.
I don't
Different
remember that
character.
at
Yeah,
all.
like exactly.
No shit.
It's just like that's not your wheelhouse. Your wheelhouse is
Hey,
doing insane
She's
shit.
trying to branch out, you know.
What's
This-
that?
Oh, that's you.
Something's going on
That's
there,
the
dude.
cell
That's
phone.
Something's
Yeah,
cooking.
no, we were on our way to the metro. This is a long time ago now. I don't even remember what the show was.
Oh God, it was some.
It was cold out. I remember that.
I was wearing a Norma Jean shirt. That's all I remember.
And that might have I don't know. Anyway, we so we're like walking, and we like it was you, me, and Tom, and then some rando
Richmond?
dude that was like, no.
Oh, Tom O'Brien.
Yeah. And so some rando dude who was also going to the show because it was obvious we were on our way to the metro because of what we were
We looked
wearing.
the part, yeah.
And we're like, oh yeah, come on, man, let's go. And so as we're walking, unbeknownst to us, Sarah Silverman pops out of like one of these bars that we're walking past to go to the metro.
Yeah.
And I think you like leaned over to me and you're like, dude, I think that's Sarah Silverman.
Just to put the time frame on this was when Crank Anchors was on.
Yeah.
Comedy
I mean, she
Central.
wasn't really like at the height of her
No,
popularity.
not at all.
really.
That was my in with her though. I was like, you're funny on Crank Anchors. Like you're not even
Yeah.
there, but your voice
And
is,
I just remember, you leaned over to me. You're like, I think that's Sarah Silverman. I like looked. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I think that is her. And I think you're the one that went up to her, right?
Yep.
And you're like, hey, excuse me, are you Sarah Silverman? She's like, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like she made some.
she made some joke about her
remark
being,
about being
a Jew.
Jewish. Yeah.
she did that,
And all of us were like, you fucking rule.
Bye.
Have a good night.
yeah,
yeah.
Just left it at that.
And left
no
it at
bullshit.
that. Like
none
she
of that,
walked
but-
like for a second with us because I don't know where she was going, but
yeah, and then she just ducked into
a
another
block,
building
and then
yeah.
went to some other bar.
So, but
She
yeah,
rules.
It was cool. Yeah, she was
She
really nice.
ruled.
Yeah,
Like yeah,
ruled.
she was awesome in the late '90s, early 2000s for sure.
well, if you guys did these Kaiju Attack wrestling shows,
She'll be there.
yes, she will be there. But no, the
Do you work for him? You're like,
No.
God damn,
No,
they're
you
gonna
got-
be there.
They'll
no.
be there. Everybody's gonna be
They'll all be there.
They'll all be there.
Everybody-
Anybody you ever wanted,
the,
they'll be there.
the hoi polloi of Berwyn. You guys would definitely
Dead
be
relatives,
setting
they'll
a,
be there.
You guys would definitely be setting a bar for the bands that play there, though, because it turns in the bands that I've seen
They're
on the shows that I went to.
a little rough.
It was some of the worst, like when we were kids playing shows with some of the worst local bands I've ever heard.
They would have been at that Milwaukee show. Is what he's trying to
That's
say in a nice way.
Just bringing it all.
And then,
Full circle.
And then we're actually going to end up fighting with the sound guy at Wire as well, most likely. Like he's going to
That's
be
fine.
some fucking idiot.
It's usually some cranky old dude.
Of course, right?
Every fucking time. Although, one of the last times I did a show there was with Roman Ring, and like we're pretty professional about our stage. Like if a sound guy has questions, we answer them concise, to the point. Hell, we even answer the questions before we ask them. It's like, we
Yeah.
got 2 guitars, bass, vocal. Like here, this is it. That's the layout. And I just remember like this sound guy was just getting progressively more upset because all the bands were very like high school level, unprofessional as could be. And you could tell the guy was like, fuck this. Like, fuck this is one of those nights. All right. Fuck all these bands. And like the attitude was up.
Attitude.
And,
Attitude era.
to an 11. And, but you like get up there and just set up fast, tell them what the deal is. And he was like, changed his tune immediately. And it was like all of a sudden our best friend. He's like, dude, he's like, I love the rigs. I love what you got going on. What do you got? What is this? Oh, yeah, that's awesome, man. You guys rule. He's like, cool, man. I can't wait to like mix you. I was like, for sure. It worked out great for all 6 people that paid there.
All it took was not being
800 cap room
6
or whatever
paid on
that
a
is.
Tuesday.
Oof, that was rough.
That sounds about right. Though.
Gabe was at that one. That was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that
Cheering in
show.
spirit. Were you at that one?
Literally
No,
got,
right?
got. No, here's the thing.
I think you were coming late, and I was like,
got in
no.
a car. I got in a car, and I was like, I'm driving fucking Berwyn, blah blah blah. And then there was a one of those things where
Something
not
better
ripping on the
came up.
flyer, but when it comes down to it, it was like
It was the world's worst flyer.
it was totally jumbled. It was like, yes, your band did play, but it was not in the order it said it was
It
going to be. I'm
was-
like, there's no way I'm going to make it. I'm like,
That was the one that it's hands down my. I've talked about it on the show before.
because you guys like opened that show or something. Or no,
Kind
you
of.
didn't open. It was like early on.
We were mid, yeah, or like second to last or something.
It looked like you guys were going to headline.
headlining,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
and it was all just discombobulated, and like that was the one where Jason was bitching up a storm about like, I don't want to play last. I don't want to play last. I was like, it doesn't make a fucking difference.
There's
like
6
There's
people.
6 people here that paid to see us.
You know those
They're here
shows.
to hang
You know those
out.
shows where literally everyone shows up, realizes at the show it's going to be a shit show, and then it's fighting for who could play as quick as
It's
possible.
possible to get the fuck out. And that was Jason's. Well, he's a kid at that point. He was just like, I just want to get it over. I'm like, dude, like, I'd rather play last so that way I don't have to fucking rush and get all my shit off the stage. Like, who gives a shit at this point? Like, all our friends are here to see us. We'll go hang out and drink some beers. Like,
Yep.
it's not a
Either
big deal.
way, this is how the
He
night's going, so.
hated it. And I was like, ugh. To the point where I was like, I was ready to strangle him. I was like, dude, you need to chill the fuck out. It's not that big of a deal.
All locals, I
Like,
assume.
yeah, it was like high school local bands. Like, bands I never heard of.
Never will
Super
again.
fucking young. Could not give a shit less about who we were. Not that we have any clout, but it was like they had no desire to like check us out. Like,
Yeah.
as soon as they were done, most of them left or they were in the back room or whatever.
Wow.
But that flyer, I'll have to post it on our Instagram. It's one of my, I still have it saved. It's one of my favorites. It just says, it's got the band names on it and like the worst, like somebody cropped out the logo and stuck it on this like very colorful looking flyer. I remember being a lot of yellows in there
Okay.
And-
bad start.
and 0 information. No times, no address.
No venue.
Just said wire.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just wire, Roman Ring, a bunch of shitty fucking bands, and that was it. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be one of those nights.
Did it have
And
a
then-
date on it?
No, nothing.
So one guy
It was
was.
pure insanity. I've like
So one guy
even
was.
in a heroin like induced like coma, you could come up with a better flyer with more
The
information.
Nightlight had better flyers.
Oh, absolutely.
There was probably
yeah.
one guy that went to the wire every day on the off chance that show was going on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. You know, from like August 1st to August 30th.
And like another great indicator of how that show is gonna go is I remember the promoter showed up so fucking late and nobody knew what was going on. Like the other guy, like he wasn't even like he was like the promoter's buddy or something. He was like, hey, what's going on? Like I was told there's a show. Like who are the bands? Like who is like everybody?
Jesus.
What's the order? What's going on? I was like, I don't know. That's technically your job, sir. Like, what are we doing here? And then the promoter did show up for all of like 20 minutes. I was like, hey, got the fuck out. And I was like, cool. And just left it with the bartender who was not happy about being there.
Yeah.
Sound guy who turned it around because we were nice to him. And then like the promoter's buddy that was just like had to stick it out for whatever reason to lock up shop, basically.
Jesus Christ.
The best is the promoter's
Crazy.
friend showing up and go,
He's like,
Yeah.
he had no information other than he knew that there was supposed to be a show going on.
Yeah, he read the flyer.
Only because we called, because there was so much, like, it was so weird going up to it. That was another thing that killed me was Jason was like, let's just not do it. Let's just not do it. I'm like, dude, the van's loaded. We're on 290. Who gives a shit? Worst case
Like,
scenario, we'll go get pizza. Like, chill the fuck out. It was like, it was such a moment where I was like, I want to kill this fucking kid because he just like freaked
so good.
out so bad. But we were trying to get a hold of the venue, and I don't remember why, but I do remember being like, yo, because I was driving. I'm like, yo, somebody call the venue and just double check like this is still going on. And Jason's like, no, let's just turn around. No, let's turn around. I'm like, dude, anybody but him, can you call the venue?
Did
so
he
they
book
called.
the show?
No, I don't remember who really booked it. It was probably you. But
By the way, I was the promoter that
he was the promoter.
I was the promoter's friend, actually.
Saw you in the shadow.
What's going on?
I know the owner of the Wire.
I was actually
one?
running my own show at Livewire that night. Bon Smith?
John Smith. As fake as that sounds.
Bon Scott.
Is he the one that's in, what's the band?
No, he's the one that taught production at Triton.
What?
John Smith.
I
He's
wonder.
clean cut, gray hair.
Homemaker.
Nah, that's not what I'm thinking of then. I thought it was like a owner of, it's some band that's like big around this area.
I mean, he's one of the owners.
It's a couple guys, yeah. I mean, all in all, it is like a great venue. I love
I
the
like
setup.
it a lot, yeah.
The stage is fucking phenomenal. The sound system, it's got a lot of potential that they don't use.
It's a nice looking spot.
Great fucking bar.
When you guys were
area.
going to this venue, though, Jason goes, "You got to call the venue," and then you said no.
Well, no. There was some, I can't remember now, but there was some reason that I was like, we should probably call ahead just to double check because we weren't getting answers from the promoter or something. Like, he just wasn't like responding to anything we were sending out.
Wow.
And we're just going in this blind, and Jason's freaking
Is
out.
this like
I'm
a couple weeks out from the show too? Like you're asking him for shit,
right? Just
nothing?
finding out, like, hey man, what's going on? What's this? What's the deal? What's the deal? And nothing. And so we get to the venue, and there's like nobody there.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, like maybe the show's just not happening. And finally,
Was the venue open?
I almost want to say the back door was just open. Like nobody checked it like the night before or something.
Awesome.
Because there was somebody like in there at some point, and they ended up like calling the promoter, who called his buddy to be like, "Yo, go over there now to take care of like these bands," and that's all he told them. And like he was just like, "I don't know who any of you are. I don't know what's going on. I have 0 set times." He goes, "How much is the doors? How much is anything? Like, what?"
Wow.
You guys took the show there.
That's so, dude,
It
that
was
is
crazy.
so
That was like
phenomenal.
one of the like most absurd. That's such a hard times moment for a band. Like it was crazy. Like how all of that and the fact that we even played it was like crazy that we pulled it off. You know.
Yeah.
Well, bands are starting to do that thing where they show up to a show and then if they get the weird vibe, they fucking leave.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I'm hearing that a lot when people go. It's
Pretty baller.
We.
Yes.
I mean, we did that. We did that in.
Yeah, but that was in the
Melbourne,
middle
Kentucky.
of fucking I mean,
Because
come on.
that was shot. Like
I
we
saw
go in
two
there.
humans and a chicken for 17 miles.
We just. I just
the chickens
remember,
here, cool.
I never actually walked in the bar, but I remember everybody else did. Maybe a couple people didn't, but they were like, I was like, how's it looking in there? And he's like, well, the bartender asked if we sounded like Twisted Sister. Like, fuck, somebody couldn't miss the mark any more than that.
I forgot who was in the shitter when he asked that.
Why is that?
Because someone, I think it was
So
Eddie. I think Eddie was in the shitter. I was pissing, or washing my hands, and the guy was pissing, and it was like the bathroom
was
was
how it-
full, and he's standing
everybody
there like
that's in
shaking his
there.
dick off, like, "What do you guys sound like, Twisted
Twisted
Sister?"
Sister? There it
And like
is.
I don't think he knew Eddie was in the stall. It's like he like came out, he's like, "We're leaving" or something like that.
We should go. But the only people that fought for it were Nate and Nick. They were like, we gotta stay and play because there was like some.
Nate will
chick
play
there.
any show.
He will
and
play any
Nick
show.
was making out with a toothless hillbilly. So, with seven kids and a welfare check.
Yeah, like.
No.
Don't get me wrong. I like attention from a
So
lady.
what
every
happened?
now
So
and
you
then,
guys left the
We
like went
didn't
outside.
say a thing.
Yeah.
We like they had to
Nate was
drag
like, "Fight,
Nick and
we
Nate
should
out.
just play."
Yeah, they had
I'm
to
like,
drag
dude, we
Nick
got.
and Nate
was
out.
there other
You gotta
bands there or
understand
no?
when to cut your losses.
Nobody showed up. No other band showed up. This is. I think that was.
If we played the
like,
best show
it was-
ever, we get a drunken 55-year-old fan that'll be dead by the time he matters as a fan. So nothing matters.
So you
There
guys
was not a lot of longevity there with
but
those
Nick
people.
But Nate was fighting, and Nick
Nick
was
and
saying,
Nate were like, we should just do it. And I was like, no, let's go to dinner, guys. Like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And so that was when we went to Cincinnati, and they were like, get the fuck out of Cincinnati. There's nothing to do. And
I mean,
was
I don't
like,
think
"You're right."
Nick wanted to play. I think he just wanted to stay for a
Talk
little
to that
longer.
chick a little bit. Oh.
Nick just wanted to play for his. He was being selfish. He just wanted to play the show.
Well, he like buddy
He just
buddy up
wanted
with
to,
the
like,
Twisted Sister guy, didn't
If
he?
we said we'll go play like in the field next door, he would have done
would've done
that.
it, absolutely.
So, he just wanted to play.
But we totally
But the
fucking
show
Irish
was
goodbye.
garbage.
We were just
Was there
like,
supposed
pulled
to
everyone
be
up.
like local support?
It was one of 3 buildings, like literally with
Oh, what do you
the
even-
horizon.
it
You
wasn't
couldn't even
even
see
like-
anything else on the horizon.
It was like crazy dirt road to get to, and then like tracks was like so much overgrown, like vegetation, but still used, you know. And it was just this bar right next to the tracks, and like a total gravel.
The
pit.
locals may have showed up afterwards, right?
No, we stuck around for a good minute. We were there like promptly on time, and then stuck
It
around.
was
for,
also
an
like
hour.
not like the greatest tour from what I remember.
That was one of the
so
rougher
we were
ones.
also at the breaking point
We
of
were
like
not worth it. Fuck this.
place.
Yeah, yeah.
like
That might have been the one that broke Gordon.
like we
Was that
played
the East Coast one?
No, that was the south one.
That was
wasn't
the
it?
South one then. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Dude,
that
I
was
think
the
on the
last one
way
we
home-
did.
I
yeah.
love when a tour breaks a motherfucker.
Oh,
it's like the
dude.
best fucking thing because
That
you
was
literally
our,
hear them snap. Like
Oh,
you're just
no.
like, oh, it's over. Their music career is
It was
fucking
such
over.
a, it was a
dude,
real
I know.
dark time, man.
Dude, there's a guy I know that did fucking that got broke by a fucking a show at Ponchos. Like he was
Really?
like he had worked like a long weekend and then had to rally up to fucking like play like a Poncho show on a Tuesday, going on no sleep from the weekend because he was working his ass off. And then fucking he's just like he rolls up to a Poncho show like for like a 6 paid and he's like, I'm done with music. It's over.
Did the owner like bust out the sax and he's
No.
like, I'm out. I can't do it. I can't do it.
so good.
Never again.
Dude.
No, we we did an East Coast tour with well at the time Wasted Fortune, now Barren Heir, and we
That's where you guys played the Dolphin Strip Club.
yes in Baltimore, which
No,
that
it
was
I
funny.
thought it was in Philly.
I'm sorry, Philly. Yeah, my bad.
We passed it on a Jarred Loose tour in Philly, and Nate goes, I
Nate-
played there.
I talked up the stripper there.
fucking
That
awesome,
That
yeah.
was like, God bless that stripper. I hope she's found a new line of work. But that was funny because like the promoter of that was like drugged the fuck out on that one. It was so fucking funny. Nice guy, but that was one of the better ones because we did St. Vitus like right when that place was like really becoming a thing. So they allowed us to play there, which would probably never happen ever again. And but the next show the next show was in Pittsburgh, and it was insane. Like it was so bad. Nobody was there. Nobody paid. There was the sound guy, his buddy. Like there's always a friend that's like, I'll hang out at the show. And then this like girl that was running the snack shop because it wasn't like a legit bar. They didn't have a liquor license. It was like a VFW hall-esque thing. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It was really sad.
It was like a VFW
and then
or a local community center type.
yeah, more like that. And then across the street was a lady.
It was like run by like an older dude that was in probably a local band that was like
Right.
drew like 30 people.
Yeah.
So, but he surrounded himself with 17-year-olds that worked for the place. So they all looked up to him like a god,
Thought he was the
and
coolest
he like
dude ever.
he was like literally. I remember like when we first got there, he was like literally surrounded by like his workers,
Right.
and like telling
Well, it wasn't
stories
like the
like
workers, it was the
leaned back
locals.
like he was fucking Tony Soprano eating like the chocolate or the ice cream off of his stomach, like.
That is such
Those were the days.
We used to just, chicks would be there. And, yeah, it was crazy times back then when rock stars could be rock
Should have
stars.
been there. Should have been there.
I was
But
like,
that was.
dude, are you kidding me?
And then, like, while that is all transpiring, there was this lady living in, like, the second or third floor of a building across the street, just screaming incoherently and, like, swearing at what I'm guessing is nobody, but somebody. Like,
the spiders.
She has
and it wasn't
schizophrenia or something.
something to the extreme. And, like,
It was a
lot.
how long was
She's
that
like,
show? Like
"Fuck you."
5 hours?
It was so long. And
And
she
we came back
never
out and she was still
stopped.
like pacing
Even
back and forth.
You
with
can
an
see
open
her
window.
silhouette in the building, and she wasn't responding to anybody. Like people would be like, "Hey," and she would it didn't phase her. She would just still be like, "Fuck you, motherfucker," and just going off. And we're like, and she did that from when we got there, and even after we left. Like she's probably still doing it right now. But yeah, shit you see on tour, man.
If you're in a case where you go to like one recently, I'm not ripping on any bands or whatever, but they'll do a thing where it's like, if I do a show at a Live Wire or whatever, you are going to get advanced pretty much up the ass. You're going to get your set time. You're going to get your loading time. That's really all you need. But long story short,
absolutely.
there's no
just the basic info of it.
there's no real deviation. Like, I mean, and then I I get fucking frustrated when a band rolls up and they try to like flip the scripts on me like day of. I'm just like, that ain't happening.
Right.
Because it's like
been established.
you've been established,
yeah.
and then like if there's something that rubs you the wrong way about the schedule I've laid out, you could hit me up weeks in advance and say,
Right.
this isn't working out. It's usually a weeknight show where someone has to get up early. And it's just like, dude, like, listen, man, this is life. This is being in a band. It's a late fucking crowd. Like,
hate that.
dude, we
people that do that. Like,
we all know
bums me
dudes who get up early, like 6:30 a.m. dudes that
Right.
literally rage till like 3 if you like give them some beers.
Right.
It's like, dude, deal with it the next
in
day.
it and they're doing it. And
Yeah,
they're
it's like
fuck it.
it's on, and it's like take a nap, and then you have the rest of the week to fucking recover.
Right.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't fucking flip that script on me day of, especially because it's like I have a million things going through my head
Right.
involving getting this show started and stopped on time, because it's just like another thing too is the fucking, there are so many like promoters in our city that will be like, yeah, I told you guys the set times, like have fun or whatever, and it's like, well, there's still gear that needs to get on and off a stage, and band's
Right.
not going over. There needs to be a climate controller.
Yeah, there has to
And
be somebody.
if you don't have it, it's cool on a night where it's like a liberal night where like it's a 3-band bill on a Saturday. Everyone's like, I'm just here to roll with
yeah,
it.
I'm 100% fine with that. Yeah. As long as the band's cool.
Jason, Eddie, and I went to Cole's like over the winter, and there was a show like that. It was like a 3-band bill where like the bands took, it seemed like 45 minutes between bands, and no one gave a fuck. Because it's just like, we're at Cole's, we're drinking, who
Right,
cares?
we're here to hang out.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Cool.
But like, if that happens at Live or on a weekday, it's like,
Fuck
that
that.
ain't fucking
It's over.
happening, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, and someone needs to be there to do it, and if the bands aren't going to police themselves. Bands that are cool will, it's just like, but not that these bands aren't cool, but they're just not thinking about that shit. So
Right.
that's apparent. So don't fucking try to flip the script at me night of, basically is what I'm getting at. But my favorite tour story of all that is not something I did. Is my friend Tony's band fucking showed up someplace. I think it was in Ohio, and like literally no one paid, and they played. And then the fucking club owner bought some merch for them, and then they went in the kitchen of the club and like goes like, "What do we don't need?" And then like got like a fucking like half of like a pie and gave it to them, and like an industrial
Whatever leftover
sized bag of tortilla chips that got him through the whole tour.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was like not industrial, like a Sam's Club bag of tortilla chips.
Comically like large.
We don't
like,
need this. Here, take this. So they just got a bunch of like random shit they played for food.
That's phenomenal.
They played
What do
for
we
fucking,
got that we can get rid of here?
Yeah, exactly. No,
what's
seriously.
that bolted down?
What's
yeah.
perishable? Yeah.
Holy
shit.
shit, that's awesome.
Ah, man.
Paid in tortilla chips.
Speaking of food, I'm gonna have to go upstairs.
That's
and
fine.
eat.
We can start wrapping
I was
this
going to
up.
say we put some time in.
We've gotten where
so.
we need to.
Anything to plug?
Yeah. So who wants to start? Dave, you guys got anything going on with Barren Heir?
October 4th
Okay.
with Thieves.
That's fucking sick, and I'm not gonna be here for it, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. I think it, or
really
the
bummed
5th.
about
No, it's
that.
the 4th. It's the 4th.
Where's that?
Burlington.
Burlington. Nice. Is it? Wait, who else is playing that besides you and Thieves? Does it matter?
I forgot now. I said it the last podcast.
Yeah, he read the descriptions of the bands.
That's right. Yeah.
it
So
was-
go back to 109. You
One
can
of them's
hear
like a
that plug.
3-letter
LMI.
word, right? Yeah?
LMI.
Something like that.
LMI. Right.
Well, I'll go with that.
Lazy.
LMI.
That's probably an acronym for something.
It's lazy
Yeah. It's libtard mother's
in.
inception.
That's it. That's 3
Graders.
You got it.
Whatever you say, I will believe it.
Right.
So, yeah, we're
Gobbo, do you have anything to plug?
We have Bill and I's band, Something Is Waiting. We'll be playing September 4th at the Empty Bottle, which is my birthday.
Hey.
So everyone should come to that.
22, right?
I'll be 32.
Sorry.
We'll be playing the fucking that. We'll be playing the night after in Pittsburgh at Howlers. We're playing that's Friday at a fest in Youngstown, Ohio called Blackout Cookout, headlined by Inner Arma. Child Bite's playing that one too, which is they're playing that Empty Bottle show, so on and so forth. And that's our next 3 dates. So that's cool.
All that same weekend, you mean? So 4th, 5th,
Three
6th, or
three days in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Oh, it's LMI and coronary.
Coronary. That was the okay. Nice.
Cool.
That should be fun.
Huzzah.
Those bands are cool. I don't know LMI.
I don't know them
know
either.
Coronary.
They're not from here, right?
LMI?
Yeah.
LMFAO, dude.
Thieves is one of the best bands in Chicago, if not the best band.
They
No, they're
rule.
from Lansdale, PA.
Ah.
There.
Coronary's from
Jack, I gotta
Chicago.
ask. Anything you want to plug?
Never. It's
Fair
perfect.
enough.
I'll see you at All Out.
My plug
Yeah,
would
hopefully
be,
that'd be great.
I'll be there.
What Gobbo said. Go to those shows.
Peace. And the
that's
fat
it.
cunt.
Thank you, everybody. As always, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Hey guys, this is Eddie from Something Is Waiting. Thanks for checking out Nothing's for No One this week. If you could like and subscribe to it, get any updates on any upcoming shows, and we'll be seeing you next week. Thanks for listening, guys and gals.